Mine's account lately, mines.com. It'd be nice if they got live stream. It's a cool site. Oh, there's Joe.
Is he back on Zoom?
Yeah, I think I've seen him.
Joe, the YouTube stream is offline for some reason.
I might be chatting with David right now.
Joe is still muted.
Yeah, Joe's my go-to guy.
Everybody's got your guy.
Yeah.
He can hear us even if he's not speaking.
Yeah.
I just DM'd him on Discord as well, so you should be able to see whether he's logged into the PC, David, right?
I cannot see him as logged in, actually. The little indicator which shows who's logged into TeamViewer is not showing, and I can't get it to show.
Oh, that's why we're live on Periscope, right? Kathy, what do you want to talk about today?
I beg your pardon?
What do you want to talk about today?
I could talk about an article that has been written in Australia in the Sydney Morning Herald by Elizabeth Farrelly.
The horrible one, the horrible article.
Well, I mean, not that we really, there's a couple of things. I don't know if I should start talking about it now, but there's a couple of things. First thing is that this is not the first time Elizabeth has written about Julian, and she contradicts what she said before. Bella Magnani dug up what she was saying before about Julian and then quoting what she's saying now as being something that she has said back then, and it's completely different. So that's a bit weird. But what is there in common? Well, is one very significant thing is that she, without actually saying it, she seems to be referring to Julian as a whistleblower.
Yeah, Kathy, because I sort of chatted a little bit about this with you. I mean, the trouble I have with that is, so what? She's sort of a troll in getting.
No, she's not. She's a very important Australian journalist. She's not a troll.
She's important in Australia.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Because it looked like she was trolling. I mean, it was pretty nasty stuff. Like, it's sort of like Julian can jump out of the embassy when he's overstayed his welcome.
Yeah. Oh, man, you see that everywhere now. That's like the main one.
No,
yeah,
actually, calling Julian a whistleblower, it's a bit like Bill Keller calling him a source. Because publishers are, and then Farrelly goes on to ask, well, how much should we protect people who break the law for our benefit, right? And she jumps from talking about Assange straight into that question, as if
implying he's breaking the law.
Yeah, implying he is a whistleblower, and Julian is not a whistleblower. The whistleblowers are the people who leak the information, and WikiLeaks and Julian are the people who publish it. He is not the whistleblower. The thing is that whistleblowers are protected under the First Amendment, and whistleblowers, sometimes they are. We've got the Whistleblower Protection Act in Australia. But generally, whistleblowers get prosecuted because they have broken the law by violating an oath or contract, right? So she is naming him as a person who is. I just saw something being held up there to the.
Oh yeah, I just wrote we are live on the on paper. We're back on YouTube now.
Oh, okay, good. So,
right. Keep fighting. Keep fighting, Gordon. Keep fighting.
So it is. It seems to me.
So we're live again, are we?
Okay. Well, I'll continue with that.
Yeah.
I'll continue with Elizabeth Farrelly's article. The greatest.
Well, should we say hello again? And
oh, okay.
Okay. I don't like that article, by the way. Oh, well, hello, everybody, again. I think this is the official start this time. I'm sorry we had some trouble streaming again. So just to check, we're live on Periscope and we're live on YouTube. Yep. Maybe. Okay.
Yeah, live on YouTube. I don't know about Periscope.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you're live on. We're live everywhere now. We're good.
Yeah, excellent. Okay. I'll sort of introduce everyone again. I think you know that Kathy Vogan's here. And Jose Rivera's here from Ecuador. Quinn Peterson's here from Canada. Does some great graphic stuff, video stuff. Kitty's here also from Canada, but sort of in the background. And David S. is also here helping us with streaming. He's part of our tech team. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in Ecuador. And Jose Rivera is here from Ecuador. He can tell us about it. And what else is going on? Oh, big news is 36 members of parliament, European members of parliament, have written an open letter demanding safe passage for Julian Assange. And that's a game breaker. That's wonderful news. There's also another little bit of news that I'd like to share. That's from the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where Julian is inside, and I'll show you. This is quite a fascinating story. I'll do a screen share. I'll do a screen share for you. So this is a Twitter account of Angel Fox, who many of you probably know her, a prolific supporter of Julian Assange, very passionate supporter of Julian Assange. And for quite a while, she's been saying, I want to go to London to defend him and guard him at night. And I know a lot of people have been saying privately, oh, we've been trying to tell her not to go, you know. A lot of people have tried that, and it's a big ask. And so this is what's just happened. This is her pin tweet in London now. This is her GoFundMe, which we're not really supposed to promote things, but this is a wonderful story anyway. And look at this. This is from Kieran O'Reilly, who does a 24/7 vigil. He's a 24/7 vigilist guarding Julian Assange. And he's with the Camden Catholic Workers. We've had Kieran on here multiple times, and he's absolutely wonderful talking as well. But also, he's been guarding Julian for 8 years, and he's in day 12 of a 24/7 vigil guarding Julian Assange with all the happenings going on. And he always reports about, he's worried about infiltration and doesn't trust people. And yet, this is his tweet from today. Day 12, 10 p.m. London, Camden Catholic Workers Vigil. Free Julian, free Assange. Update. Join this evening by Angel Fox, keeping the night's watch. So this is Angel Fox staying at night. Angel is from Michigan. Colder climes than sunny subtropical Brisbane. That's where Kieran's from, that's for sure. And as they say in Dublin, keep it lit. Solidarity. So
that's excellent, because you know that they had a bit of a conflict on Twitter. So this is wonderful to see.
That's right. Kieran was saying, who is this? Who is this Angel Fox? And very suspicious, eh? And so Angel Fox has arrived in London. I just think this is a lovely story.
It is a lovely story.
so there she is at night. She's got a free Assange. I'll click on the picture, see what that. Assange's free speech is our free speech. Actually, look at her account too. She's got 43.4K followers. She tweets mostly or almost exclusively on Julian Assange. She's got 142K tweets.
Nice.
And they're good quality tweets too, with really nice graphics and everything. She puts a huge effort into supporting Julian Assange. And she said she was going to go to London from the US, take time off from her job. She asked all of her supporters to fund her, and she made it to London. And this is I just love these tweets. Also, I've invited Angel to come on, but it's what, 1:30 in the morning, and she hasn't been on Zoom before probably. So I think it's kind of unlikely, but she's very, very welcome to come on here. She's certainly invited. And Assange, he's no longer alone. His guardian angel is watching over him. This is at night in London. She's already on vigil. She's staying in a hostel. I will go to the GoFundMe. We're not allowed to, but
is there a hostel right by the embassy?
I don't know. It's a very wealthy district. Oh no, it's something else. But she's got 1279 of 3,000 gold, and she's trying to raise enough money to stay for a month to go, Julian. Oh, it's in here in London now. I need money for food and shelter. I figure $60 a day, and I can stay at a hostel. There's another tweet where she says she's in a hostel with 6 people per room. Someone else. She made it. Angel arrived in London this morning to help keep watch over Julian Assange. This is someone called Doves and Letters. She's got, because she tweets mostly on Julian, these supporters are Julian Assange supporters. So she's a major part of the effort of supporting Julian Assange, and she has been for a long time. So this is the Ecuadorian embassy in London by day, with all the scaffolding that we've talked about a lot. This is another lovely picture. Vigilance at the Ecuadorian embassy in London.
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? David, could you please check your DMs?
All right. So I think I don't want. Is that Angel herself?
Yep.
Yes. And this is Clara Campos, I think. And this is Emmy. Is that right?
No.
No. That's Clara, though, I think, right?
But Emmy is a female.
Oh, okay.
No, she's not in that photo.
Well, so there's 5 of us. Maybe she's taking the photo. This is Rafael Correa, the former Ecuadorian president, is the one who granted asylum to Julian Assange, and he's no longer the president. And that's probably going to be a next topic. We'll talk to Jose about the goings-on in Ecuador, terrible goings-on in Ecuador. But this is a wonderful good news story. And the other ones are just taking photos in London. So, you know, what a wonderful story. And you know, hearty congratulations to Angel Fox for she's so determined. It's incredible. So that's just a lovely story. So that's very nice. And if we're very, very lucky, we might get Angel coming on, but I kind of doubt it because it's the early hours of the morning, and maybe she's got other things on her mind, and she has to get the Zoom working and everything, but she's certainly been invited.
If I might just talk a little bit about the negative, there is a purpose. We had a rather unpleasant article by a prominent Australian journalist who we thought would be much more supportive. It's a journalist that really stuck up for another Australian journalist very, very recently, who was charged with espionage in Cambodia for flying a camera drone. Ridiculous, James Ricketson. But I won't go into the details of the article. I mean, people can find it if they want. But what leaps out at me the most, and what leaps out at me as well in what President Moreno has just said, is the same soundbite, perhaps. So both are calling Julian a whistleblower. Now, I think all I want to say to people is look out for the use of whistleblower in relation to Julian, because that is, a lot of people get confused as to what a whistleblower actually is. And you see him referred to as a whistleblower very often in the media, and WikiLeaks is a whistleblowing organization. So this is very misleading.
You see that. It's not true, right?
Of course, it's not true.
Yes.
So Julian is a publisher. WikiLeaks is a publishing organization, and whistleblowers are usually the insiders in the army or government who see wrongdoing and leak to the world, submit their information to publishers, among others, WikiLeaks. And there are some laws that protect whistleblowers, but they are just very weak. President Obama said that he would protect whistleblowers more. We have a Whistleblower Protection Act in Australia. However, we find that they're very, very weak. Chelsea Manning didn't even come into it, Chelsea's motivations, or the good that it did. It depends on what kind of court it is. But as soon as you see whistleblower next to Julian's name, can you please say journalist and publisher? Because why? Because whistleblowers are not really protected under the law, and journalists and publishers are under the First Amendment, especially. So that's why we have to keep asserting that Julian is a journalist. So maybe, so Moreno did it last night. So maybe on that note, we could pass to Jose in Ecuador to find out more details. What do you think, Bruce?
Yes, that's good. Hi, Jose.
Oh, hi there.
Hi.
So it's always a privilege to have you on, Jose, live from Ecuador, where there's a very difficult situation. So the country has really gone downhill since May of last year, 2017, when a new president was elected, who's Lenin Moreno. And the new president doesn't support Julian Assange, and he wants him out of the Ecuadorian embassy, London. And there are a whole lot of goings on associated with that. Perhaps you can get us up to date. And also, I mentioned, Jose, that you're unwilling to show your face because you're in Ecuador, and journalists and politicians are getting arrested. A lot of them, aren't they, in Ecuador?
Yes. I sent this. Well, as you know, all know, today was the court hearing for Assange's appeal to the other court, and Assange was able to talk a little bit longer than the first time. And yes.
So Julian Assange actually appeared live.
Yes.
Video streamed in Ecuador.
Right.
And Jose, as you speak, I will screen share your Twitter account. Since you're not showing your face anyway, I'll screen share your Twitter account, and I'll try and find the relevant tweets. So you're welcome to point to the relevant tweets as well. So this is Jose's account, and I recommend it to anyone who's interested in following Julian Assange. And Ecuador, events in Ecuador around Julian Assange. So he's Siguem, and then Ecuador is the name of his account. Jose, yes, so Jose, and I'll try and find the tweet, Jose. I've bookmarked some tweets. The first
that's the letter from yesterday.
Class, which you'll get back to. But this is WikiLeaks reported yesterday that, or 2 days ago, that tomorrow is Julian Assange's hearing in Ecuador over his gagging and isolation. So Julian Assange has, through his lawyers, taken legal action in Ecuador to try and restore his human rights, which have been taken away in the embassy. And Jose, you didn't know about this until WikiLeaks tweeted it, did you?
Right. The rules say that they are supposed to give you 2 weeks, 15 days of advance notice to appear in court. So I don't know if the lawyer got that notice or not. But this tweet just came out yesterday.
And you would normally, you follow the court proceedings, you follow this court proceeding. Right. You don't live in the capital city, Quito, yourself, do you? So you have to take a bus, make a long bus trip if you know that there's going to be a court hearing. And you would have been there, wouldn't you, if you'd known about it?
Yes, I would have been there, but I needed, some advance time to plan.
Yes.
So I'm going to be watching at the court the next court. But next week the judges are going to give the ruling on today's court appearance, and I guess the Assange's Ecuadorian lawyer is going to go after that to a higher court.
Yes.
Because it depends on what the judges say. But I would not be surprised if they come up with something funny, because they are under the control of Lenín Moreno. So I just
Jose, Jose, can I ask a question?
Right.
Is that still the lawyer Poveda?
Yes.
The same one that warned Julian last time that the protocol was already in force and warned him that anything he said in terms of testimony could be deemed in violation. So Julian has taken a bit of a risk speaking out as much as he did, right?
Right. But, he, the first time he accused directly the Ecuadorian government of doing, what the United States wants. And this time, Assange took another type of dialogue. And I put the translation here on the Twitter, on the next page.
Okay. So I'll try and find it.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. But go back one page.
This one?
Yeah.
No. The
4.
Yeah. Go back
the next
to the one.
Yeah.
Have I gone too far?
Okay. This is okay. We can cover that video that we just saw.
Yeah, you go. You keep going. It's the one that's text only.
Yeah. Okay. The big rectangle.
Go to the one that's text. No, the one in the middle.
It's just a big white rectangle with the text in it.
Yeah, and there's a couple of lines of text. No, you're over to your right. Well over.
Right.
Keep going. Yes, keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
There it is.
Right. On that one, you need to go back to the previous page.
Oh, I see. This is one of several.
That's it. Yes.
That's a translation I made for the news article.
Oh, yes. And is it in Spanish in the first one? And then this is your...
I put it in English. I put it in. I translated it and put it in English.
So you have a couple of quotes there from Julian, which possibly
Yes, those are the words
out.
by Assange. You can read it if you want.
Okay, thanks so much for doing the translation, Jose. So the title is Julian Assange compares himself with the journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was the Saudi Arabian journalist who was murdered in the Saudi embassy in Turkey, right?
Yes.
So
in fact, he doesn't. If you read the article, he doesn't. He compares the actions of the Ecuador to the actions of Saudi Arabia, but Ecuador's is much more subtle, but will still likely result in death.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this for the first time, so I'll just read it if people indulge me. Okay, so his defense requested the appeal on the grounds of an alleged violation of human rights with the application of a coexistence protocol since October. We've talked a lot about that protocol. It's basically an illegal document that tries to bypass his right of asylum, Julian Assange's right of asylum. Okay,
and
so
free speech.
Yes. It's horrible. At the MC in London, where he's been held for more than 6 years. The protocol sets standards for visits, communication, sanitation, and medical care. Because Judge Martinez rejected the appeal on 29th of October 2018, noting that there are no rights violations, sure, Assange intervened this morning during the hearing. He was the first to speak through a teleconference with a simultaneous translator. So this is his quote, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, Julian Assange speaking, quote, "We have heard a series of threats from the Chancellor, Jose Valencia, the prosecutor, Inigo Salvador, and the president, Lenin Moreno. So we've heard a series of threats from them that if I do my job as a journalist, if I express my opinion, my asylum would be finished." So that was his direct quote from Julian Assange, end of quote. It was one of their first statements to try to explain why he rejects the protocol and the government's decision in March to cut off my communications. These were re-established with the protocol, but Assange rejected the Wi-Fi key. Oh, wow. Which gives him access to the internet. Oh.
Yeah, we knew that. I mean, I knew
okay.
it. Yeah.
I wasn't completely aware of that.
Well, accepting the Wi-Fi key would be, without actually signing anything, would be a tacit acceptance of the terms, wouldn't it? So he did reject the Wi-Fi key.
Oh,
yes.
So he can't even watch. I was hoping he'd be watching this, in fact. But more seriously, I was hoping he'd be able to Skype, with his mother and things like that. Well, okay. In his view, the termination of asylum would be a, quote, illegal act and a terrible precedent on a global scale. This is the rights of asylee. So it's not just his opinion. I think that's established, that's settled international law, isn't it? Asylum law.
Absolutely. It's called refoulement. Looks like refoulement, but it's pronounced refoulement. And that means handing over an asylee to the persecutors after having granted political asylum.
Yes.
So that would be refoulement, and it is the foundational law of political asylum. That's the last thing you want happening, because then if it happens to one refugee in one embassy, it could suddenly become an epidemic of happening to other refugees in embassies all over the world. Would be a diplomatic incident that could trigger exactly a cascade of more similar events.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So the Attorney General, in general, I'm sorry, Jose, what's his first name? I have trouble with it.
Salvador.
No, the first
Salvador?
one.
Oh, Íñigo.
Íñigo
Yes.
Salvador.
David, sorry,
I'm just
Bruce.
checking if someone's joined the stream. Have they?
Bruce, there's some questions in chat for you, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Is it about the situation in Ecuador?
Yes.
Oh,
They're
okay.
directed to Jose.
Okay. So, yeah, yes. So ask away. Shall I go into the chat and see it?
I can read them if you like. Jose,
Okay.
someone is asking you from chat, did he notice the questions about glass posted on Discord under real-time journalism on 10th December? Is Glass going to be transferred back to prison for now, or is he still in the hospital, I think is what he's intended.
Shall we do Glass next as the next topic?
Yeah, I think we should finish this first.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of a few important things we need to read here.
Yeah, we're going to discuss Jorge Glass for sure after this, but
okay.
So the Attorney General Íñigo Salvador indicates that Ecuador has not violated any human rights of Julian Assange. So this Attorney General is not very sympathetic, Jose.
No, he is, you know, he is doing what Lenin tells him to do, you know.
Yes. Was he appointed by the president?
You know, right. This attorney has a big salary. So he's protecting his salary. And he does whatever he's told to do.
Yes.
He just follows the money.
Yes. So it's expected that the court reaches the same conclusion. And this
8
is a report
days. Next week.
When they give the ruling, yes. And this is a report by Daily Dore.
Yes, it's a newspaper.
Yes. Okay, so just to finish this, Assange pointed out that the Ecuadorian state is performing in a more subtle way the same thing which Saudi Arabia did with Riyadh critical journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was killed at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Assange argues that Ecuador seeks to, quote, silence a journalist, unquote, about investigations relating to the United States, and that if this situation continues, it could lead to his death. The creation, this is direct quotes, so that I assume Julian Assange again. The creation of a series of threats will produce a situation that will inevitably lead to a health crisis, resulting in my death or hospitalization, or a political excuse for illegally being handed over to the British and extradited to the United States, where I face a potential life sentence, he said. Faced with these and other statements, such as the fact that almost 80% of Julian Assange's time is in isolation, due to supposed restriction of visits and communication, that's including his lawyers, I believe. The Attorney General, Íñigo Salvador, said that it is absolutely unacceptable and false to attempt to compare what happens to him, Assange, with that of Khashoggi.
There's a little bit more, Bruce, on the next few more lines on the next page. So just click on that right arrow.
Yes, is it this one? This is because of the position of the Ecuadorian state has been, he said, to establish norms of coexistence that do not violate rights. In addition, he indicated that Assange has already undergone medical and blood tests as required by the protocol.
Do you know if that is true?
No, I don't know. I haven't seen anything. But it doesn't commit him to the rest of the protocol, I would say. They're trying to pretend that he's agreeing to the protocol, aren't they? They're trying to...
exactly. Yes. I have more quotes that I'm reading from another paper.
Yes.
It says, Assange said that the Ecuadorian government is being pressured by the United States to silence him. He explained that since March, he has been subject to all types of restrictions. And Assange said that the Ecuadorian intelligence service, SENAIN, is spying on him to send the information to the United States to make him desist of his asylum and surrender to the British authorities. That is why he said the protocol is not legal, because it regulates his stay in the London embassy. Poveda, the Assange's Ecuadorian lawyer, said that Assange would be able to get out of the diplomatic mission of Ecuador, but the government of Ecuador is not showing the UK document that they say the UK government sent to the government of Ecuador. What they have done, he says, is simply transcribe. This is words by Assange. What they have done is simply transcribe one part of a letter that the Foreign Ministry of Ecuador sent to Baltasar Garzón. But the document that the government, it says that, but the document that the government of Ecuador talks about doesn't exist. Legally, we have not seen it. There is no guarantee for anything. On the formulation of charges, it's just a fantasy. It's just a fact that the United States is investigating Assange through the attorney in Virginia.
Yes.
And
so,
the Attorney General of Ecuador follows saying, you have to go by the protocol and you will stay at the embassy as long as you want. On the contrary, you will have to surrender to the British authorities. And the government of Ecuador has been working so that Assange will not be extradited where there is a death penalty.
Yes.
And that's the end of that.
America is complicated because some of the states have the death penalty, such as Texas, whereas others don't. So would they extradite to a state in the US that doesn't have the death penalty?
Well, Kathy, I sent you a translation of the interview that they did after the court to Íñigo Salvador. And he talks at length about this. So I think it's important you should read it.
Yes.
So does he clarify that a country that has the death penalty could be the US?
Right. Okay. Here's the. I summarize this thing. As soon as Ecuadorian Attorney General came out of the court, he was interviewed by several reporters from different media outlets, and one of the reporters asked Salvador if Assange was going to be extradited, and Salvador responded that Assange would be extradited if he does not live by the protocol. And another reporter following that question. What was that?
Jose, you mean he'll be expelled from the embassy, kicked out from the embassy?
Yes, yes.
If he doesn't follow the protocol.
Exactly, exactly. So the following question from another reporter was, so does the United States apply the death sentence in the country? And the Salvador answered, well, there are only several states that apply the death sentence, but there are others that do not have it. And so the same reporter asked him if Ecuador would extradite him to the United States, and he answered that he gave an example, the Bradley Manning court, and he said, well, as you remember, the Bradley Manning was sued by the court, and Assange, in the same manner that Assange would be sued by the same charges. And,
well, actually, yeah, can I just get in there? And I remember,
right.
I know it's a translation, but the exact wording was that.
Well, I'm just summarizing.
It was about violating the same law.
Exactly, exactly, yes.
So that's where he's actually implying that Assange is a whistleblower, and that what Chelsea Manning did and Julian Assange are the same thing, which is totally erroneous, totally erroneous. And it does ring alarm bells with me that a journalist in Sydney is saying the same thing on virtually the same day. It is the same day. So I'm very wary about sound bites, and that is a very dangerous one, calling him a source or a whistleblower. And she invites us, this journalist invites us to make an ethical decision about what to do to protect whistleblowers, when in fact that's completely off topic when it comes to Assange.
And we have a meme with Daniel Ellsberg saying that he isn't a whistleblower and that he's a journalist.
Correct. Yeah.
And you could use that meme in, Twitter conversations or.
Yeah, let's be very vigilant about that, because if Moreno and the journalist in Sydney is saying it on the same day, how did we get back to Julian being a whistleblower again? I don't know, but it's the latest one.
Well, I hear a lot of people say it, and I hear Jimmy Dore say it a lot, and I know he doesn't mean it. It's just slip of the tongue.
We've got to be very vigilant, because the laws are entirely different for journalists and whistleblowers.
Yeah, I think that's the trap, right?
Of course.
I really think that's the trap, is that the laws are different. So when they call him a whistleblower, they're laying the foundation for something.
Yes. I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and there are also we'll get to the questions on Jorge Glass soon, but there are also some questions and comments now on this particular Julian Assange's court case. So I'll read some of those. So Jerry Alatello says, thank you for translating Spanish to English, Jose. Everybody needs to capture, screenshot Jose's translations and disseminate everywhere. They're on Jose's Twitter account also. And Maya in the Panhandle says, aloha all. Thank you, Jose, for your coverage and translation for us. Amazing. I really appreciate it. Synonym 1 has questions for you, Jose.
Okay.
Sorry, that's for Jorge Glass. We'll ask that soon. Jerry Alatello says, comment, Moreno's offer access to internet but effectively limiting to sharing cat videos, allowing no political discussion, was nothing but a non-disclosure agreement, what many term a gag order. Brian Cosby, I would like to see Correa come on at some point. I don't know if we formally invited him, but he's very much invited former President Correa.
I did, but he never responded.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, you can only try. That's still good.
Yeah.
And he would appreciate that anyway, I think.
We should have him on the vigil, not the Wikibase.
Yeah.
Either or.
Oh, well, I mean, the vigil has a lot of high profile.
More viewership.
Speakers, yes. And it's more condensed version of the news. So let's just not call it the protocol and non-disclosure agreement either. There was no space for Assange to sign. It was simply brought into force. Force being the operative word. He had no choice.
Yes, it's totally
Well,
illegal.
if this lawsuit that the Assange's lawyers are doing in Ecuador, if this same lawsuit would be done in London or in Sydney, I don't know if I'm wrong, but probably the outcome would be much different, because the Attorney General here, points the finger, and uses terms that he would not be able to use anywhere else but in Ecuador. You see my point?
Fighting the war on drugs, isn't he?
Right, exactly.
Fighting gangs. Yeah. I read a little bit about him.
Yeah, it's because Ecuador used to have a robust legal system, was my understanding, under President Correa. Is that true? For example,
yes.
Fighting the oil spill lawsuit against Chevron.
Yes.
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 I'll read some more comments before they get away from us.
Okay.
Pink Army, I stepped away from the computer. Who has written this letter that we are hearing right now? So we were reading out a newspaper report of a court action in Ecuador that Julian Assange's lawyers have taken, Pink Army, and that's been reported, and Julian Assange has been speaking via teleconference, video conference to the court. Oh, someone asked a question about that, but let's see, we'll just get to it. Jerry Altello, Moreno's offer was an attempted, sophisticated legal trap intended to end Julian Assange's asylum, turnover to UK authorities, and eventually extradition, plus life imprisonment in the US. More lawfare, and this is happening so much. And also in Ecuador, it's happening a lot, isn't it? Lawfare.
Well, yes. You know, just 2 days ago, one of the journalists is in jail. You know why? Because after he had gotten the job at the information office in Ecuador when Correa was president. And he had been at work as a journalist for 10 days only. So in one of those days, he signed a paper for a contract for some cameras or something like that. And And just because of that, they put him in jail. Just because he signed the paper. And the guy is already, it's going to be like about a month already in jail. And I'm reading it now that the other journalists were sent to jail because the Attorney General's office made a mistake in one of their files, and they put one paper from one folder into their folder, and that became the accusation.
Wow!
So they're still 30 days in jail with no accusation, no evidence of whatsoever.
Yes.
So that gives you an example. That's that law firm is surely vicious, and inhuman.
Yes. Okay, back to the YouTube comments. Stephanie Massili has a comment and a question.
Right.
Comment to Kathy, they want to try him in Virginia with a special streamlined courts. This is Julian Assange. He won't get a fair trial. And Stephanie's question is to Kathy, but also to you, Jose.
Yes.
Did anybody snag a photo of Julian Assange today?
Yes. Go to, I'll show you. Hold on a second. It's right there.
On the screen.
It looks almost the same as last time.
Yeah.
Right. It's but this one this one is more open. This picture. Yeah. And you can see it on ecuadorinmediato.com.
So just to make it clear to people, because yes. I know that there was reports all over the media, all over the world, that Assange's appeal or lawsuit regarding his human rights was thrown out of court. And in fact, what came out at the time, which seems to have been entirely suppressed, is that the judge said that that particular court was unable to rule on this matter, that it was a matter for the Constitutional Court. So in fact, this yesterday is the escalation of that case. It wasn't it was basically that it had to go to a higher court, but everyone's been told that it was a stupid story about the cat etc. And ridiculous, and was thrown out of court. Well, that's actually completely untrue, and now it has been continuing yesterday. I feel the reason that they have delayed this decision for a number of days is because, well, Assange seems to have presented a fairly compelling case.
Yes.
Well, remember also that there was no court. These judges are new, named by Lenin Moreno. So these judges are new.
Right, that's right. He's replaced the whole of the Constitutional Court, yes?
Right. And there is a newspaper article today that Lenin Moreno is investigating almost 500 judges.
Oh, my God.
Yes. They are doing an investigation on 500 judges.
That must be nearly all of them.
Well, this is a vicious witch hunt. It's never been done in the history of Ecuador.
How do people feel about it?
People don't know.
Yeah.
People don't know because you go to the newspaper stand and you see nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, Quinn, people didn't even know that Jorge Glass was on hunger strike.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, unless you're really into it, it's so hard.
Their vice president.
Yeah.
Wow. Actually, okay. The question, Stephanie asked that question about whether there are any photos of Julian, and I'm sure you won't mind, Stephanie, if I show you your Twitter account, because your handle is relates to that. Sorry, I have to. Okay, I just do a screen share. So this is Stephanie's Twitter account, and indeed her avatar is Julian Assange from the last court case.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a nice little touch. Stop share. And I'll just check if there are any more questions. People. So Hope lives on. Dean says, hi, I just joined. Are you saying that the photo you just showed was taken today in a court of law? Thanks. Yes, it was.
Yes.
It was. It's a photo of Julian Assange
Yesterday.
Via teleconference yesterday. Yes. Someone's saying lovely birdsong sounds. Is it? That's you, Jose, right?
Oh no, it's me. Those are Australian birdies. Let me close the window.
Oh, that's funny.
It's nice at a certain level.
It's so cold in Canada. There's no birds kicking around.
All right.
Oh,
yeah, they've all migrated.
Really lazy ones.
Yeah. Oh, we've got it's just come into summer here in Sydney, but not too hot yet. But yeah, there's been a lot of cicadas, and it's deafening at night, and birds, always birds where I live. It's kind of green around here. But hey, why don't we get on to some good news about Jorge Glass?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just read this tweet from Stephanie Masha Raphael. That's the former president Rafael Correa. He'll be mentioned right now in Unity for JS Wikibees. So if he wasn't invited before, he's certainly been invited now. I'll show that. There it is. So this is the Twitter account of Rafael Correa. Stop share. Okay, so in summary, that court case is probably not going to do anything to help Julian, but at least we get to see him live. That's something. So we'll move on to Jorge Glass, who is the vice president, elected vice president, isn't he, Jose? He's no longer the vice president.
No.
But he was the elected vice president, elected with Lena Moreno.
Yes.
Yeah.
In May of 2017. And Lena Moreno, at that time, pledged to continue the policies of the former president, Rafael Correa, who we were just talking about, who gave Julian Assange asylum. The new president pledged to the people that he would continue the policies. And then he turned on everyone. And he's doing the exact opposite, and it's horrible to watch. And he put his vice president in jail, didn't he, Jose? Because the vice president continued to be faithful to the policies of Rafael Correa. And it's the same thing that we were just talking about. It's lawfare, isn't it? He was accused of some stuff.
Yes. There is no evidence whatsoever.
No,
Jorge Glass' name does not appear in any of the investigations that they made.
And yet he's put in prison?
Yeah, his name doesn't appear in any investigations that the government made to accuse him. They couldn't find anything.
Yes. Someone's asking on the YouTube screen, what court did Assange just address? How did this relate to proceeding with the rest of the delayed case? I'm not sure which case you're referring to, but this is an Ecuadorian court that Julian Assange appeared in.
Right.
Teleconference.
Remember that those judges were chosen by Lenín Moreno, so the outcome would not be a good one.
Yes. And in fact, Beth B already answered that question. He was addressing the Ecuadorian court in relation to his human rights being violated by the new protocol. Thank you, Beth.
And when's the next election in Ecuador?
2021. 21.
Oy.
Long way off.
Actually, it's 2020. At the end of 2020, the elections begin. But there are rumors that Lenín Moreno will leave the country before that.
Hasn't he already left for a month?
Yes, he went. Actually, yeah, he went to. He's in China now. And you know what Lenín Moreno went to say to the Chinese? That we have great new highways, new hydroelectric plants, new electric grid, and new digital connections to all the country, new bridges, new hospitals. And he forgot to say they were all done by Rafael Correa and Jorge Glass.
Right.
So this is one of them. This is again your Twitter account. No, this is not your Twitter account.
He's just bad.
Let's see. I'll stop the share, and then.
But 2 nights ago, when he arrived to China, no official went to welcome. He arrived at the airport, and there was no one there. It was just some airport, guys there. They put a rug, but there was no one, waiting for him. No official.
Yeah, Xi Jinping doesn't look very happy to stand beside him.
Right, I'm sure he was really upset. I tweeted about that. Very lonely, huh?
Yeah.
So I think this is from your tweet. I can play it.
And I didn't.
Moreno is now in Beijing for a 3-day state visit. President Xi Jinping welcomed him at the Great Hall of the People, and the two leaders held talks on bilateral issues, and they talked issues of mutual concern. After the meeting, the two leaders witnessed the signing of Memorandum of Understanding on jointly advancing the Belt and Road Initiative. Ecuador's Foreign Minister Jose Valencia is also on the trip.
Yeah, so that's the trip. So we were going to talk about Jorge Glass, right?
Yes. Well, as we all know, yesterday he stopped his hunger strike, and he issued a letter that I translated, and I put the translation. I was horrified when I read the letter, and Glass says almost at the end of the letter he stopped his hunger strike because he was visited by his 2 children, and they made him change his mind.
Wow!
So it was a horrible ordeal that he has been through. That translation.
So this is his Twitter account, and this is the tweet you're referring to, Jose?
Well, I sent it to Unity for J Twitter account. This is Jorge Glass account.
Yes, you sent a translation, in fact, which is wonderful. I'll see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, there it is.
So again, this is wonderful. Thanks very much, Jose. We really appreciate it. You've translated the letter. It's quite a long one, but it's very dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see how quick on that.
Pages, I think it is.
Manifesto to the country. My hunger strike, a silent cry to the world. I mean, should I read the whole thing or?
Well, you can read the second paragraph. That's
okay. This is when he was first arrested on Sunday, October the 21st at 7 p.m. while studying for an exam. As I'm studying a master's degree at a distance course, so that when this nightmare ends, which presumably is the presidency of Lena Moreno, I will serve my homeland better. And he's a famous engineer, isn't he?
Yes.
Police arrived in plain clothes, pushed me with their chest, cornered me, joined by armed agents of the Justice Ministry and with handguns and rifles. And meanwhile, a policeman dressed as a civilian, a police mayor. Why was he dressed as a civilian? He whispered in my ear, quote, "You will see now. You're going to Latacunga." Is that a bad prison? What is
right,
this?
the bad prison, yeah. The
Yes.
second.
Still quoting, "Now you'll see what's good." So this guy's basically gloating that he's going to prison. They had never treated me like this. Always, police and armed members of the Ministry of Justice had treated me with respect. Many of them cried when they had to transfer me to the trial court hearings. Quote, "How will they condemn him if his name does not appear on the so-called evidence," they told me. That's exactly what you said, wasn't it, Jose? There's no evidence against him with his name on it.
Right. Well, he's saying that some two police officers at the prison were, one of them was crying and was telling him, that they knew what they were doing to him, and they couldn't understand why he was being accused without any evidence, if his name does not appear in any of the investigations.
Yes. Yeah, and he goes on to say, this skips a couple of paragraphs. When I arrived,
hang on, no, don't skip the part where they wouldn't let him take his medicine. He's got a heart condition.
Yeah, that was terrible. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I had problems sleeping last night. That's the letter.
Okay, I will read it. This time it was different. They wouldn't let me take my things. They made fun of me. I asked them to let me take all my medicines. Very important to me. I could only take a small part. I wanted to go to the bathroom, pee. They wouldn't let me. I was angry and forcibly entered the bathroom on the ground floor of prison 4. The police mayor tried to check me while I was urinating. Why so much humiliation? Could I hide a gun in my genitals when I'm in prison? Faced with such aggressiveness, I feared for my life. It is good to always be at peace with God, to keep calm. I was not afraid. I was nervous. I thought of my children, my wife, my mother. When I arrived at the Latacunga prison, I was made to undress at the entrance. Usually they give you an orange suit in the cell. It was for the photo, which was taken by a police sergeant to publish it in all the media. It was part of the agenda of humiliation. Another photo was taken by this policeman in the transit zone inside the prison. They cannot deny that it was them. Humiliation is the state policy. They took me to a cell where there was only one bunk bed, no bathroom, with a sink without water. They made me take the shoelaces out of my shoes. All of this in front of cops armed to the teeth. I asked why I had to take the shoelaces out. They told me, you take them off or we take them off. I had to take them off. Locked up in the cell, I asked for water. The answer was bring your relatives, but even my relatives didn't know where I was. They gave me a bottle of water, then I ordered a Bible. Other prisoners gave me a quilt and a cardboard to put on the bed metagril, for us not to die of the extreme cold. So he was helped by the other prisoners. And he goes on, these are the same media. I expressly thank the few media that have reported my situation, especially the digital media. That also remains of decency in the country's social communication. So what you're doing, Jose, is really helping in a situation where the media don't report this stuff.
Yes, exactly. Well, if I didn't do it, you would probably not know,
No, I wouldn't know.
A lot of things that I have told here, because, there are no Ecuadorians reporting in other languages.
Yes.
So this is this behavior by these policemen. Not all policemen are like that, but some are really, a little crazy. Yes. They sent the crazy ones to that night to pick up glass.
Yes, yes.
So it reminded me of some years ago. I was arrested with my brother at the border with Peru for taking some pictures, and wow. I'm still alive by a miracle, because they would have killed us already a few years ago. But we were saved by someone. We were lucky, but we lived a harrowing experience.
Was that before Korea?
Yes. Many years ago.
Yes. Yes. All right.
So
I'll continue. These are these same media, the ones that collude to hide a hunger strike that lasts 52 days. The hunger strike. I mean, many of us. I thought he was going to die. Jorge Glass. Dear citizen, have you seen any news of my hunger strike? No, they hide it. Now everyone knows from social networks what happens in Ecuador and throughout the world. So he's talking about you in part, Jose.
He is.
You have seen that they took me to the hospital. I lost consciousness while in the cell. It's a terrible story. I won't read the whole thing. This yeah. Well, I'll read. He talks about his prison conditions. I've been given a bathroom with water 4 hours a day only at the sink. There is permanent water in an installed shower where there was once a toilet. There is a tank to store water. They gave me bottles of water to drink. The bad smell is permanent. I get my meds. I must say that all the doctors in the center are very concerned and do what they can. They cannot do any more because they simply have first level care, and they must attend to 5,300 prisoners. And I require third level care, and they're only equipped to give first level care. In this environment, you can't avoid an infection. That's what you were saying before, Jose, that they expect and hope that he will die there.
He's an old man, yeah?
No, not that. No, he's not that old.
Oh, okay. But still.
Well, it depends what you call old,
Yeah, that's what you're saying also, Jose. They treat prisoners who unfortunately have tuberculosis and other infectious diseases. And so there's a risk of him also getting the disease. Because of my weakness for the hunger strike, I can't walk much. So I actually spend 24 hours a day in the cell. I've lost 31 pounds. He got gastroenteritis. Treatment for mycosis. What's mycosis?
It's an immune deficiency sickness that he gets.
Yes.
That's why he's in danger at that prison, where contagious diseases are everywhere.
Yes, I had dizziness, cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea several times, and doctors can no longer find veins to put serum in me. I have both arms bruised by the needles. And this, I think, it's designed, the prison's designed for 4,000, there's 5,300. There's only water for 4 hours a day. I would like to thank Dr. Gina Benavides, whom I do not know, and all her staff, a woman of values and character. People's Defence Court, who spoke out against this infamy. Also the doctors, making reports to telling the truth, doing their job and fulfilling their doctor's oath, were sanctioned or removed. So the hunger strike was for dignity, nothing more or less. So I mean, what a letter.
Yes.
And then this is another tweet. Here is the last page of tonight's class letter. Shocking. I have been warned of serious risks of irreversible damage to my health by the International Red Cross, even of a heart attack. At the request of my family, my companions, and all of you, today I decline my hunger strike. I do not want to cause you any more suffering. This does not mean that I renounce the fight and to my principles, quite the contrary. We have made the world look at what is happening in Ecuador. It is the first step towards my freedom and justice. The authorities of the Ministry of Justice have changed and now they're talking about human rights. I have been offered by the authorities to comply with all the provisions of the habeas corpus judgment and to make every effort to take care of my health. And most importantly, the assurance that I will never again be humiliated in any way and that no one will ever be humiliated in this way again. So is that good news, Jose? What is this? The authorities have changed for the better at the Ministry of Justice? Oh, I trust that this will be the case.
Yes, but you see, he remains at the same prison where he could die because of a contagious disease. Because of right, because he has a genetic disease, you know, that is an immune disease. So he's in grave danger of being contaminated by, you know, one of these diseases. And as you know, you read that part. Now the doctors are finding difficult to find a vein in his arms. Yes. Because they have used so many shots in his arms that he has no longer, you know, it is very difficult for them to find another vein in his arms again.
Yes. Yes. And he finishes, we kneel only to God and stand before men, to victory forever. Jorge Glass Espinel, ex-constitutional vice president of the Republic, re-elected by popular mandate, a political prisoner. So he's finished his hunger strike, but he's still in the prison.
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So so we've covered, what, 3 main pieces of news from Ecuador. Certainly Julian Assange's trial. The president is away on a foreign business trip. There were rumors that, I guess there are always rumors that he might be stepping down. And the third one is that Jorge Glass, who we thought was going to die, many of us, he's finished his hunger strike, but he's still in danger because he's in a terrible prison still, and he might get diseases, and his immune system is compromised.
I think we should remind people as well that it hasn't been full steam ahead for Moreno, because Interpol dropped the arrest warrant on Rafael Correa, understanding it to be political persecution. So it's not all going Moreno's way, but certainly in Ecuador, you're finding, even I noticed even the doctor said that he had to sign his Glass's release on the highest order. more or less
Yes.
saying that that was not his medical opinion at all. But Correa is able to speak freely again now, and has always been vocal, but has got a lot more vocal now, and he's a voice that the people of Ecuador will listen to. It has to come through.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Exactly. The things that have not gone well for Lenin. Just read that today that the Attorney General is almost ready to file charges against the Vice President Maria Vicuña, who just resigned. They have found more evidence against her of corruption. But they just used her. They just put it there to use her until they could, and then they just threw her out, to the dogs.
Yes, it's hard to know what is real corruption and what is fake corruption.
Yes.
Well, yes. She received, she was collecting payments from people whom she helped give jobs. So there were several people who were giving her money to keep their jobs.
Right.
And also the investigation has widened. They have discovered now that she had several relatives of hers that she put on government jobs, which is prohibited by law. So she is in deep trouble. Yeah, she's in deep trouble.
The law. Yes.
Yes, and this afternoon, the new vice president, whom they are going to use also, he just tweeted about the comment that we just made. He said that he is not there to guarantee that he will be the new president and Lenín Moreno upon Lenín Moreno resignation. And he tried to say that was not true. So the rumors are very high.
So last time we talked, he hadn't been appointed yet, Jose. I'll show you the screen.
He was appointed yesterday.
Okay, so this is the third vice president under Moreno. The first one was Jorge Glass, who was put in prison.
Yeah.
The second one was Vicuña.
Yes.
Oh, so I'm showing the wrong one. And the third, and you tweeted out, if I can find it, that he had 3 names.
Oh, yes. But they were just for pure show, They had already decided who the vice president was going to be. So
this is a crazy tweet. This is from maybe 5 days ago. Yesterday, the dictator announced the names of the 3 vice presidential candidates to replace Maria Vicuña, who resigned to corruption. A reporter told Lenin that his first choice was an economist. Lenin said he did not know that.
Yes, exactly. That's what happened. He went to the 3 days ago. He went to the interview by the media, and he was reading he read the names, the 3 names of the possible candidates. And one reporter, asked him if he knew that, that his chosen number 1 vice president candidate was an economist. And Lenín Moreno said, no, I didn't know that. So that means, they just gave Lenín Moreno, 3 names. Read that to the public,
Well, he said that somebody else. He said that somebody else had chosen the VPs.
Exactly.
Who was it? Who was it if it wasn't Moreno? Who chose the vice president?
The right-wing leader of the candidate, the leader of the political party in the city of Guayaquil, which is corruption 100%. So that's the man, their man. This young guy is he owns a radio station, and I mean, well, you and I know that he didn't buy it. Probably his father gave it to him. So he didn't work, you know, and make money to buy this radio station. No way. So
yes,
that's so they sent one of their guys to be the vice president, and probably, you know, replace Lenin.
Eventually.
I'm just thinking. Right. They'll probably begin to, you know, accuse Lenin of things until, you know, Lenin just resigns and leaves the country, never to return again.
yes.
Right. Jose, can I ask you about Marchand? Has he arrived in London yet, the new ambassador?
I knew that. He was making arrangements to travel there. I think probably this week he will be going there.
Oh, he hasn't arrived yet.
I'm not so sure, you know, but anyone going to at the London embassy can go, you know, can call the embassy and find out if the ambassador has arrived or not. That's the easiest way to find out.
Okay, folks, you know what you have to do.
Yes, I had the
just call the embassy and find out if the new ambassador arrived.
Bruce, there's some more questions in chat for you.
Okay. Okay, I'll read some more questions. I've gone back a little bit. Stephanie Marsilia is going to send a message to Mashi Rafael, the former president, on Twitter, and suggest him coordinating with you guys. We can only hope, Stephanie. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. We should try. I mean, why not? I'm trying to find the questions. Unity for Joe says, lovely birdsong sounds. Okay, which court? Any emails?
Stefania, could I ask you, or Stephanie, sorry, could I ask you to reach out to Guillaume Long and Fidel Naves as well? So Guillaume Long, and both of those have been foreign ministers to Ecuador, and Guillaume Long speaks several languages, I believe.
Yes,
definitely English and Spanish, but maybe French as well. And he's a very eloquent speaker. And seems to be a wonderful human being. We would really love to hear more from him now, and we are very grateful that Naves has been speaking out of late. It is so valuable to actually have the consul himself, who was in charge of the embassy for 6 years, refuting the Paul Manafort visit claims. That is just perfect. But if we can hear from those people directly on air, that would be fantastic.
Okay, so a question from Brian Crosby. Bruce and crew, what are the odds of us being able to save Julian? What can we do to help? Kathy.
What can we do to help? Well, as that latte sipping journalist in Sydney said, this is completely political, and so it very much depends on the public perception. So one of the things that we can do is chase around, keep vigilant about bogus claims, that especially of the nature of Julian Assange being a whistleblower or a source, because they are the most dangerous. Don't let people be asked to make ethical decisions about what to do with whistleblowers. There are very clear laws about whistleblowers, but you know, you have to set people back on the road to understanding that Julian Assange is a publisher and get them back to talking about the First Amendment.
Yes. Actually, Quinn, you were saying offline that you had some ideas. It's a very broad question. So, what are the chances? What are the chances of saving Julian Assange? I don't think people know, but
I think the more people that get involved, the better chances of him being freed is. And I think the best way is to get to know people in Discord and stuff, and then to learn about what's going on so that you can, combat the propaganda smears or whatever the narrative may be at that time, and then acting on it kind of thing. So then doing what like a bot farm would do. And so sticking together in groups, and when one person comments on something, and if they get it wrong, correct them, but support each other's Twitter threads and Facebook threads, and make that presence seen. Because if someone clicks on a random thread and they read what Kathy was just talking about, some lie, they'll have that narrative in their head just from reading a small little comment thread or like headlines.
Well, that's right. A lot of people are starting their statements of opinion about Julian Assange based on stuff that is coming from the DNC narrative, and they don't even realize that narrative is pouring out of their mouth. They take that narrative as the first premise. So it's important to realize that back in 2015, our Attorney General in Australia, George Brandis, said that it was highly unlikely that Julian Assange had broken any law in any country. Remember that the last 8 years have been carried purely on lies and propaganda.
Yes. So it's a case of educating people, isn't it? And I do think there aren't enough of us. As people are saying, we have to be the catalysts, not just the workers. We have to spread the word and teach other people how to spread the word. And Quinn, you're doing lots of really nice videos. Kathy as well. And Kathy, you've been doing them for a long time and spreading the word. And I mean, Kathy, you've been doing a lot of stuff. You've been doing politics in the pub. And I mean, the last session, I'll share it again. You've done a whole lot of videos to help Julian Assange, which we showed.
I have a question for you, Bruce.
Yes. Sorry?
Okay, finish with that, and then I'll ask you.
Oh, okay. So last time, this is 42 videos that Kathy made, all but one of them, and they're all about Julian Assange, and they just spread the message of what WikiLeaks does. And once people know what WikiLeaks does, that they're very principled and they're seeking justice through transparency, people are going to support it and spread Julian's quotes, spread the information. And last week we played Crimes of Obedience, the third one of these. And Kathy said there are a whole lot of other different ones. The one I'm looking for, Nozomi, is wonderful. Nozomi, there's a chance that Nozomi will come on today. She's interested. She's quite busy, but she said she might come on if we're lucky.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So this is fabulous. 551. But the one from politics in the pub, is that amongst these, Kathy, or is that somewhere else?
Do you mean like the Unity for J and Politics in the Pub live broadcast from Sydney, the event?
I think it's an older one. It's like a 20-minute clip of Nozomi speaking, and I just thought it was wonderful.
From Politics in the Pub. Yeah, she gave a talk at Politics in the Pub. It was an evening I organised called Big Brother, Blood Money and the Deep State. And that was back in 2015,
right?
15.
Yes.
Not many people in Australia, even Professor Stuart Rees said, well, come back next week for that one and you'll be able to find out, like me, what the deep state is. So it wasn't a new term, but it was being used. So I thought it was a good idea to have her and another wonderful Australian journalist called Bernard Keane, who's a national security journalist, report on what the deep state's function was. And there's been some very good videos since then that clearly defines the difference between the shadow government, which is security, national security organizations that are embedded within the state, and then the deep state, which is private sector. And it's a very sort of grey area between them as people leak out of their government national security positions and form private companies and take their savvy and access with them to spy on people, on populations.
Yes, but I just thought her presentation was amazing, an explanation of the background of everything. So I saw it. It's a video about 20 minutes long, which you must have cut out. So where is that, Kathy?
It would be on the Politics in the Pub channel. It's the deep state talk that you're talking about. But Nozomi hasn't. There's another one where. No, that's not even her. That's the WikiLeaks files. We did that as well, which was very good. With one of the authors. But that's the only one I can think of where Nozomi spoke at Politics in the Pub.
I'm trying to find it.
Do you want me to find it for you?
Well, it should be. Oh, watch later. I'm frantically trying to. Oh, I found it. Okay, I'll screen share it. It's just this one. Someone asked, what can we do to help Julian Assange? And my answer to that, in part, is share the absolutely... So there are some transformative videos that if people watch them, they can be convinced.
Oh, yeah, that's Bluffdale. Yeah, that's Bluffdale data center behind me. Yeah, this is definitely Big Brother, Blood Money and the Deep State. That's the one. I don't know how you found that one because it's a long time ago. There you go. There's both of them.
I think the best way probably right now to be helping Julian is doing like stuff on the ground, like flyers, posting flyers on bus stops or putting them in mailboxes
as well. Yes,
in my city.
But I do think we should do everything. I do think.
Be diverse. But right now there's so much censorship that I feel that put your effort into social media, but don't just stay there. Definitely go out on the ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Hey, Simon Float is in. Do you think we could pass over to Simon?
Yes, but I just want to commend this video to people as that this is an explanation that of the importance of WikiLeaks that really struck me as being about the best things out there. This is from the
You might need to unmute the sound.
2015.
If you wanted to.
Is it Simon?
Should I jump in now? Hello?
Okay. Okay.
Hi, Simon.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. I was just waiting for confirmation. I had some questions for Jose. Okay, regarding Assange's recent statement, now I'm just trying to contextualize this with his case. He has a lawsuit against Ecuador that was not dismissed but delayed and deferred to, I think it was the Constitutional Court. And now we have this testimony which is relevant to his lawsuit. But what is the context? What court is this being heard in? And does it mean that does this mean that the Constitutional Court is now addressing his lawsuit?
No, it is not a constitutional court, because they said that the Constitutional Court will start working in next February.
That's what I thought. Yeah. So
Yes.
So do you know what?
So
what
this
court
court was the same as before.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I was just
It's the
trying
same.
It's the same court, did you say?
Yeah, it was. It's yes, but this the first time was only one judge. Now there were 3 judges.
And more judges.
So it's a little bit higher than the first one. Yeah.
All right.
Now I wanted to ask you something. Now there was a tweet where someone published a letter that I think one of the UK Parliament responded to a person, and it said there that the UK government had plans to extradite Assange. Now, my idea is, would it be possible to legalize that letter if you find it, or get another one, and go to the Ecuador embassy and legalize it there and send it to me, and I will hand deliver it to the Attorney General here, so that he does not have the argument anymore of saying that the UK does not have any plans to extradite Assange.
It sounds like an interesting idea, but I don't know specifically which statement you're referring to, or how to come by that. Maybe if someone else does, we could certainly try to do something like that. I just want to check with you while we're talking, Jose, whether you had seen on the Real-Time Journalism channel, I had gone through your tweet history and made a summary and asked some questions related to it for an article on George Glass, sorry. And did you see that? It was on the 10th, just a couple of days ago.
There have been several, so you have to tell me which one.
Okay, it's the entry for the 10th, and there's a document, and it says glass research, or research on glass.
I don't remember. You have to show me the image so that I can, maybe I know.
I can't screen share here. But I think it's the only entry for the 10th on the Real-Time Journalism channel. So if you just scroll up from the present, it will be there. Anyway, I think you can find it now. You know it's there, and that would be very helpful if you could answer some of those questions, and we could get a new article in English.
Yeah. Right. Is this in Discord or in Twitter?
In Discord, yes. So
in the journal.
It's a bit awkward to try.
Okay.
it's real-time journalism is a channel under actions. So you have to scroll down past communications into actions. Yes.
Okay. All right.
You've been there before. I sent you a notification, but this is the thing. Discord is still a little hard to find your way around, and we have to, unfortunately, do these things and confirm and make sure we're getting through it.
Yes.
Simon, what seems to be happening in Ecuador, it's pretty much like what happened in England. Starts off in a local court, moves to a district court, and finally makes its way up to the Supreme Court. So it's been in the local court in Ecuador, now it's in the provincial court, and it is moving its way up and will end up in the Supreme Court. But the problem is, or the Constitutional Court as they call it, but the problem is that Moreno has already replaced all of the judges. And I don't know if you heard earlier that, that he's pursuing, investigating 500 judges in Ecuador.
Yeah, I was stunned to hear that. In fact, I'll make a personal request now, Jose, if we can get some original source for that number, so that can be quoted in an article, can be validated. That would be fantastic, because that's a shocking thing. Really get people's attention.
Yeah, I'll put it on Unity for Jay tomorrow morning.
But what has already been done puts all the power in Moreno's hands. If he's sacked the constitutional judges, all of them, and put his own people in instead, we can't. It will go through the motions of making its way up the court, but we don't expect any kind of reasonable response.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think it's still important to be following it from a journalistic point of view, to be exposing these very things, and you know, all the hard data that we can get regarding what actually goes on in the court, and is going to be very valuable to revealing to people what's going on. And that's where the main game we're playing is with public perception. And you know, facts can turn the tide regardless of what, you know, how much corruption is involved. If the light shines and people realise that there's corruption there, the whole game changes in our favour. That's my point of view.
Well, that has already happened recently.
It is happening slowly, I think. Yeah.
When the charge from the Eastern District Court of Virginia was accidentally copy-pasted, that was an eye-opener to all who had said there was no case in the United States. It was all about the Swedish thing.
Yeah, that's a good example as well.
Yes, now they can't say that anymore, because there is actually hard evidence that that there is a charge, at least one charge, from the Manning era.
Yeah.
That's why the First Amendment at the moment is, and asserting that Assange is a journalist, is so important.
I agree. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted because I'm wrestling with my computer, but I've got a lot to say about all this sort of stuff. I think I might have to save it for the vigil. I just really want to make this connection with Jose. I'm going to try and screen share shortly my the place on Discord that I'm referring to. It's just my computer is very slow.
Oh, okay.
Maybe if you can send me the Discord doesn't really work with links. You can't target a location on Discord with a link, as far as I know. Am I wrong? I hope I'm wrong.
I can share it if you like.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just the real-time journalism channel, and then just scroll up a little from the bottom.
I don't know where it's going to land. It might be in the wrong place. So I'm just going to jump to somewhere else straight away, because we don't want to be.
Already.
We landed we landed in a channel I didn't want to reveal, but it was very brief. So I'm just scrolling up now to real-time journalism, and you said that the date of entry was
That's it.
10th.
The 10th, yes.
Go back to the 10th.
No, of December. So that's, be going down. It's only a few up from the bottom.
Oh, I see.
The most recent. There it is, Glass Research up the top left.
Aha, okay.
Okay. So Kathy, if you could just scroll down on the left-hand bar there, just to show Jose how to navigate to that channel.
Yeah, I already see how we do it.
It's sort of about halfway down, Jose, and it's in.
Okay, so you just go past new.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, great. Done. Jose, I also wanted to follow up with a question about, if I can get a question about the statement that Glass made that we just had, was just read. There's a particular paragraph there which seems very significant but is unclear. I just want to try to clarify that. I'm going to read it. It's after the red section that you have in red on the tweet. There's one sentence in the paragraph following the red paragraph, and then there's this, which I'm about to read.
Yes.
I have been offered by the authorities to comply with all the provisions of the habeas corpus judgment. Okay, there's a grammatical problem there in English. I just can't interpret it. First of all, what is this habeas corpus judgment, if you're aware?
Yes, Glass filed about a few days ago a habeas corpus appeal to the court. In the same petition, he included the two things: his change of jail to Quito jail and the habeas corpus. The court did not give Glass the change of jail, and the habeas corpus they did give as a Glass a partial habeas corpus, not a complete one. So the point is that they are the government wants to keep Glass at that jail because the chances of him getting a contagious disease is very high. So they want to kill him. That's what they want to do.
Yes, I understand this. It's just it's difficult to follow the technicality of what's occurring, and I think it's important to be able to do it.
I understand.
Yeah, this sentence says that he's been offered by the authorities to comply. I can't parse that. Is there something that he was promised?
No, well, that's the way an Ecuadorian talks, you see. He's been sarcastic. Basically, that's what it means. He's being sarcastic. You know?
Okay.
It's like, they offer you, something that is not true, really. They're just, it's just a showpiece for them, you know what I mean, for the media.
Yeah, he's just like smarten up and be and follow the rules, kind of.
Right, exactly.
So
that's why he.
I was just wondering if you have documents relating to this, the judgment that he
court hearing?
Yes, anything regarding his case and the history of it. Any documents would be fantastic in the real-time journalism channel if it could be posted there.
Yeah.
But I know it's some things aren't. It's not always possible, and often it's quite difficult to find these things. So I'll just leave it at that. And with the questions there in the post for you to have a look at when you can, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, answer them.
But I just also wanted to notice, just after the red section, the first sentence there seemed positive. The Ministry of Justice is changing its tone regarding glass. Apparently, they're talking about human rights there, and the People's Court of Defence. Could you describe something about this entity? It seems quite interesting. It's on the government website, but there are in different countries there is the same thing. There's like a Latin American institution, but I don't know anything about it. Can you describe that a little bit? And that their support class.
The People's Court is a special court for complaints by common people about different things that you can go and complain about. For example, in this case, Glass. You know, the Glass requested this court to check on his complaints about his situation at the jail. And that's why the court went to the jail, visited Glass, and they made a report on this. So in this report, there is a medical report included with that.
That would be fantastic to have the link to as well, Jose. Just to mention that.
I can send you the report that they made, yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, I think that's about all. Sorry, that's all that I can really pursue at the moment. I have to be heading off, sorry. But thank you very much for that, Jose, and look forward to your responses on the Real Time Journalism channel there. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Thanks,
Simon. Coming along.
Hey, Simon, before you go, I've just opened your Glass research document. Did you want me to share that as well?
Possibly. I mean, it's a little involved, and the language is a bit convoluted with all the technicalities. But there are some, certainly, if you notice, for instance, some striking points in the tweets. The tweets are annotated, as you can see, looking there. There are some pretty eye-opening ones that might be worth following up, just to direct people's attention to. But okay. On that note, I'll see you guys later. Thanks.
All right.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later. I'm leaving too, guys. So.
Oh, okay. Thanks very much, Jose. It's wonderful to hear from you.
Good night, all, and we'll keep in touch.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. See you, Jose.
Bye-bye. So it's wonderful to have Jose. I was answering a question from someone in the YouTube. They wanted to know the best videos. So I did the one that I just mentioned. Let's see, I'll show it. I'll screen share it. By the way, it looks like I've been shadow banned or something, because when I try and do a search from the NT4J account, in my own account, I was trying to find stuff and it doesn't find anything.
Weird. So weird.
If I just do from crowd versus bank, crowd v bank, that's me.
Man,
no results.
Social media right now is just so bonkers.
So I've been shadow banned or something, eh? I mean, it is me. It's not misspelled or anything. If I just do @crowd versus bank, it comes up.
There you are.
Yes, I'm there, but I can't do a search in my account.
Can you try a hashtag instead of a?
So I do from.
Oh no, just a hashtag. Just a hashtag, rather than.
Just search for a hashtag. Just Wikibeat hashtag.
No. The hashtag crowd versus bank.
Hashtag
crowd.
Bruce, I'm David here. I'm just checking with
Might
you.
get something then.
Shadow banned. In fact, you are. You've got, according to this website, a search suggestion ban, a search ban, a thread ban, and a search ban.
Oh, can you flick the link for that into the
Yes, I will.
Zoom and
maybe you can check me too. Check us all. That's outrageous.
Yeah, what have I ever done?
That's why we got to use Minds, minds.com.
Yeah.
/Unity for J.
So sorry for everyone for doing a personal side of thing, but this is ridiculous.
It's not personal because you are taking responsibility for disseminating so much information from Wikibees and Unity for J. So
this is David's just shared the link for that. Username CrowdVBank found.
Whoa.
Search ban, thread ban, search ban.
I am just I just
screenshot.
Yeah. just scroll down so I can see CrowdBank's name at the top, if you could. Yes, or up. Yeah, let me just screenshot that. Bloody hell.
It's funny, in 2016 I had a Twitter account, and I never commented, and I followed WikiLeaks, and I would only like their posts, and I got blocked by WikiLeaks on it, and I couldn't see any of their posts anymore. So then I had to make another damn account, and I lost all my followers.
Yeah. And
that was the only reason I was on Twitter, because Julian and WikiLeaks was on it. And it was just.
But WikiLeaks blocked you.
Yeah, and I tried to contact them, and I didn't get any response or whatever.
Right. David, if you do it with your own handle name, are you likely to get the same response, or?
No, I'm clear. I'm all clear.
You mean for me or for?
Yeah, what happens if you do that search, Bruce? Would it try and tell you that you weren't banned at all?
Search for myself.
Yeah. On
from my own account.
On shadowban.
Oh. So this is an app, Shadowban?
Yeah. Yeah, I've always
from my own account. I don't know. I don't want to log off from Unity for J now because I'm trying to promote tweets and all that stuff. But that's a little bit mean. I've only been tweeting on basically Julian Assange stuff at the moment.
That's your Twitter account.
Yeah, this is my Twitter account. This is my personal Twitter account. I'm on the Unity for J account now.
Mm-hmm.
Lucille Paula asks, Bruce, am I shadow banned? So can I just type in Lucille Paula's so I can just type in the account here and see if there's shadow ban, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I just got a message from someone, one of the other mods, asking if she was shadow banned. I think this is your account, right, Lucille?
Wow.
So I'll try it anyway.
The Unity for J account on mine's got subscribed by the CEO of Minds. His name's Bill Ottman. He's like the Zuckerberg of Minds.
Yeah.
And hopefully he could come on the vigil.
You could not. Okay. So as just one of the other mods asked if she was shadow banned, asked me to test. So that's what I did. So it's Paula, and Paula, you're not shadow banned. You're fine. Do you want to be tested, Kathy?
I'm just testing myself, and it says no the whole way down.
Kathy Vaughan.
But if you do it, you might get a different.
Hey, Kathy, you've
That
got
would be
3 letters on the end of your name. What do they mean? What are they?
Well, it's in relation to a musical band, SPK, that I was involved in around the time I started my Twitter handle.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
musical reference.
I was wondering what it was. Okay, I had no chance of testing. So you're fine. Looks like you're fine.
Will you check mine?
Okay. You're Quinn Peterson too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've checked a bunch, and it's always said no for me, and I was like, as if I felt kind of shamed.
I'm feeling special at the moment, but
yeah,
I'm over it now. I'm over it now, Twitter. So you can restore me. Thank you.
Yeah. Now you're angry.
Okay. So I was trying to find some stuff, and I can't because it's on my Twitter account, and I'm shadow banned. Excellent.
That is very strange. Even Susie is not. I just checked Susie.
And also, talking about Susie, I followed her on my Twitter, and you can click the bell. And on my mobile app, I get all her tweets, and I would like hers and a bunch of others, just like all of them and retweet them. And the bell disappeared, and then I stopped seeing her tweets for maybe a couple of weeks, and then I was like, oh, because a lot of times I won't even go on Twitter. I'll just support people's tweets or whatever.
Yeah. So I was just on my personal account this morning. They don't tell you you've been shadow banned. Oh, I guess that's what shadow ban means, I suppose.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was trying to do something
But that's why I think the putting flyers up is really important, because they're screwing with us so hard, and anybody that.
Yeah. Well, I think we do have to get in before social media shuts down entirely, but
keep your presence
at the moment, I think.
So, Bruce, couldn't you do it the other way around and just see if Unity for J is shadow banned? You said that you inquired about your personal account logged in as Unity for J, but what about the other way around? Hang on, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
Assange legal is not, according to this.
Because they're scared of getting sued or something.
Well, no, they were actually. Assange legal did have the account restricted.
Oh yes, yeah. She posted a thing
recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, Unity for J is not shadow ban, and in fact, shadow banning is just you're not actually, your account is not deleted or anything apparent that you can see is happening to it. It's just made very, very difficult to find.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so I did a couple of tweets in reply to Laura Powers, who did a question on the YouTube channel asking for a list of the best videos. So this was the video that I showed that's from Nozomi for Your Politics in the Pub, Kathy. I just think that is excellent if you listen to that.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
The other one is very, very obvious and I said this is important for the context on WikiLeaks. And the other one is for the moral outrage that's been conducted on Julian. He's being tortured in the heart of Europe.
How is that? Sorry about that.
Yes.
Oh, how is that doing on your YouTube channel, Kathy?
Which one? The
Christine's speech.
It's not terribly visible on the Politics in the Pub channel. There's like a few hundred, maybe about 500. Where I did notice it did remarkably well was on Facebook, which of course is, when it's playing, it's just playing in a loop, and people can, all they have to do is click to hear what's being said. So that one has got several thousand views, but nothing remarkable compared to silly cat videos, which can
yeah. But it's got quite a bit of copies out there, like there was an RT Dutch one with it on.
Are you talking about the emergency statement or the interview?
Yeah, the emergency statement, yeah.
Yeah, because there's the interview before that I did with Christine, where there's both of us talking on the 9th of August. And that one is, I think it's around over 30 minutes long. Wow. And there is so much information in that one from Christine. She just rattles it off, all the facts are absolutely spot on accurate. The lawyers even checked it, before printing the transcription, because they said, well, that's something else. And a barrister went through it for over an hour with me, line by line, and everything was legal and everything was accurate. Everything was cleared to print. So that is one of the best ones. And that's the one I was talking about that hasn't been seen by all that many people. It has on Facebook. Or certainly the emergency statement went viral worldwide.
This one, it's got 24,000 views from Unity for Jack. Should we just play it? I mean, it is 7-8 minutes, but it is very powerful on the other hand.
Yes, sure.
Okay. So this is Christine. This is one of the videos that I recommend as a game changer, basically.
This is not a drill. This is an emergency. The life of my son, journalist Julian Assange, is in immediate and critical danger. I thank you all for being here and listening to a mother's plea to ask your help to save him. Despite Julian being a multi-award-winning journalist, much loved and respected for courageously exposing serious, high-level crimes and corruption in the public interest, he is right now alone, sick, in pain, silenced in solitary confinement, cut off from all contact, and being tortured in the heart of London. The modern-day cage for political prisoners is no longer the Tower of London. It is the Ecuadorian embassy. Here are the facts. Julian has been detained nearly 8 years without charge. That's right, without charge. For the past 6 years, the UK government has refused his request for access to basic health needs, fresh air, exercise, sunshine for vitamin D, and access to proper medical and dental care. As a result, his health has seriously deteriorated, and his examining doctors warn these detention conditions are life-threatening. A slow and cruel assassination is taking place before our very eyes in the embassy in London. In 2016, after an in-depth investigation, the United Nations ruled that Julian's legal and human rights had been violated on multiple occasions, that he'd been illegally detained since 2010, and they ordered his immediate release, safe passage, and compensation. The UK government refused to abide by the UN decision. The US government has stated Julian's arrest as a priority. They want to get round the US journalist protections under their First Amendment by charging him with espionage. They will stop at nothing to do it. As a result of the US bearing down on Ecuador, his asylum is now under immediate threat. The US pressure on Ecuador's new president resulted in Julian being placed into strict and severe solitary confinement for the last 7 months, deprived of any contact with his family and friends. Only his lawyers could see him. 2 weeks ago, things became substantially worse. The former president of Ecuador, Rafael Correa, who rightfully gave Julian political asylum from US threats against his life and liberty, publicly warned that when US Vice President Mike Pence recently visited Ecuador, a deal was done to hand Julian over to the US. He stated that because of the political cost of expelling Julian from their embassy was too high, the plan was to break him down mentally. A new, impossible, inhumane set of rules and protocols was implemented at the embassy to torture him to such a point that he will break and be forced to leave. At the same time, a member of the Ecuadorian government repeatedly tries to cancel his Ecuadorian citizenship so he can be extradited directly to the US. While his lawyers challenge this latest violation of his human rights under the Ecuadorian constitution, their government lawyer has warned Julian that even his very testimony describing his suffering could be in breach of their new protocol and grounds for embassy expulsion. They have denied him visits from his lawyers for 4 days before the next hearing on Monday, jeopardising the preparation of his case and further increasing his isolation, anxiety and stress. They are setting my son up to give them an excuse to hand him over to the US, where he will face a show trial. Over the past 8 years, he has had no proper legal process. It has been unfair at every turn, with much perversion of justice. There is no reason to consider that this would change in the future. The US WikiLeaks grand jury producing the extradition warrant is held in secret, has 4 prosecutors but no defence and no judge. The UK-US extradition treaty allows for the UK to extradite Julian to the US without a prima facie case. Once in the US, the National Defence Authorisation Act allows for indefinite detention without trial. Julian could very well be held in Guantanamo Bay and tortured, sentenced to 45 years in a maximum security prison or face the death penalty. My son is in critical danger because of a brutal political persecution by the bullies in power whose crimes and corruption he has courageously exposed when he was editor-in-chief of WikiLeaks. The same corrupt entities who in government tut-tut about bullying, fake news and human rights. These same bullies are bullying my son to death. It would appear that courageous, truthful, multi-award-winning journalism is now life-threatening. The legal channels have been subverted and are therefore unlikely to save him. Because this is a transnational political persecution by a savage superpower in collusion with its allies, saving Julian will require the outrage of the people of the world. I'm asking you to make a noise, a big noise, and to keep making a noise until my son is freed. We need to make our protest against this brutality deafening. I call on all you journalists to stand up now, because he is your colleague and you are next. I call on all you politicians who say you entered Parliament to serve the people to stand up now. I call on all you activists who support human rights, refugees, the environment, and are against war, to stand up now because WikiLeaks has served the causes that you fight for and Julian is now suffering for it alongside of you. I call on all citizens who value freedom, democracy and a fair legal process to put aside your political differences and unite and stand up now. Most of us don't have the courage of our whistleblowers or the journalists like Julian Assange who publish them so that we may be informed and warned about the abuses of power. But we can stand up en masse and protect them. Throughout history, when the abuses of power became too much for the people to bear, they united and stood up and stopped them. This is a moment when we must say no. This is enough. We, the people, will not stand by and watch this brave journalist die.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Jimmy Dore Show. I have a special guest with us.
Yeah, I wonder if that gets banned or censored at all on YouTube.
Maybe you take it off while that guy's talking.
Yeah, so that's just so powerful. So videos like that, there are things that just shift the pile. They're so powerful. There are sort of so many imperfect tweets and videos and things like that, but some are just so powerful that how can you deny that? That's Julian's mother speaking, but it's also completely well researched and well thought out, and it just makes a devastating case that you shouldn't do this to anyone, and you shouldn't do this to the world's most important publisher in particular. So I think for videos is a good way. I think we should do a diversity of tactics, but that's certainly one of them.
Yeah, totally. Video and image and pictures are like the most powerful things.
Yeah, we should move on to some of your stuff though, Quinn. Sorry, I keep you waiting.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, if you just go to the propaganda page, it'll have most of it just like consolidated into one.
I really love your videos, Quinn, I have to say. They're
Thanks.
great.
Okay. So I'll go to your Twitter page first, which is what I've got up.
Yeah.
So share. So this is your Twitter page, and you're sort of famous in these parts for your Lego videos. So this is
my nephew.
Richard Lobo from the Oligarchy News Network. A new study shows that no one reads books and we should burn them all and stop printing. Back to you, Bill.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Eve, holy crap.
Yeah, see, these are books, and they can teach you a lot about yourself and the world. This book is Julian Assange's, and it will help you understand geopolitics. So while we're on the subject, we should work to free him from political persecution.
Yeah, I lived with my sister, and her kid had a lot of Lego, so I was, just had, making up ideas, and then one night I was like, wanted to, make a Lego stop motion.
So you are propaganda, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased to finally meet you. We've been talking a lot in Discord.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't even realize when you came on that now I could put a face to it. Oh,
yeah, same here.
Thank you. Thank you. Your videos are bloody amazing. Absolutely wonderful.
And Kathy has helped actually, or whatever. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I would make the video first, and I wasn't writing the script kind of thing. And then, because it was very hard to match up the amount of frames you're making to how long the video will be and how long everything. So then I was kind of writing all the stuff afterwards. And then she told me to write like a storyboard. And then I kind of looked into that on YouTube and stuff. And then I got more into it.
Yeah, it was the same with me, Kathy. I was trying to get propaganda onto Wikibees, and I was trying to get Quinn Peterson onto Wikibees.
It's two different people.
I was tweeting with propaganda, and then I did a personal message to Quinn saying, from the Unity for J account, saying, please can you come on? And said, oh, it's propaganda.
Well, it's proper.
Yeah, proper, yeah.
Propaganda. So yeah, I'll share your YouTube account now, propaganda.
Totally worthwhile to have a look at those videos. They are so good, and the voice of the mainstream newsreader has stuck in like a brainworm in my mind.
So I go to videos, right?
It's funny. I used a voice altering app on my laptop to get the voice to pitch up or whatever, to be more feminine, and it ended up crackling and being really funny.
Yes, and Kathy can't resist imitating things. It's a wonder I wasn't imitating the birds outside earlier on. But that little voice is just, my dog knows it by heart now.
Yeah.
So we've probably seen a lot of these, haven't we? Kathy, you're live. You're actually...
Yeah, I thought I'd be polite and speak to...
It is. It's really better. I really like it when people show their faces.
But yeah, some of them aren't all Unity for J, but
we're sort of familiar with a lot of these. So a lot of these are short promos. Should I play a short promo, or do you want?
Yeah, you can play that Ellsberg one, I guess. I'm still working on this one.
Does, whether it's Chelsea or Ed or Julian Assange or me, is at most one link in a chain of events which may help terminate the wrongs that we're trying to expose. In my case, let's say I wouldn't have thought of doing what I did do, for what it was worth, without the direct example of Bob Eaton and Randy Keeler, who went to prison. And of course, they were links in a chain. They had been induced to take that action by many people before them.
But yeah, I'm still working on that, and I got to put something about the WikiBees schedule at the start before he starts talking, and then continue making it.
Yes, my favorite one is the one that you did on fake news. That was great.
Yeah, request Kitty for fake news one.
Unity for J Lego News.
Yeah, there's so scroll down.
This one.
Top right.
Yeah, that's great. I love that.
And this is actually a newer one too, so this will be like a promo for it.
Rachel Loblow here. A CIA study shows that Julian Assange is a high-tech cat terrorist and that he actually treats his pets as a companion or a friend. Click this video to learn the truth about Julian Assange, or click subscribe to support Unity for J.
So yeah, actually, I thought about I learned about YouTube annotations and how you can have the click-ons or whatever. So one night I just kind of quickly thought of that Yeah, that's
not actually the one I was thinking of. There was one before
that. No, that one's a newer one. Yeah, so scroll down and
bookshelf.
Yeah, it's one of your really early ones.
I think it was the first one I made, actually.
Lego stop motion?
Yeah.
No, yeah, you can show that one too. We'll just show all of them, I guess. They're all fairly short.
They're really short, yeah. They're really short and really funny, which is how to get people to...
Today we were alone outside the Ecuadorian embassy, where nobody cares about Julian. So, what do you do?
Great work. Now let's get the fuck out of here, Rachel.
Hey, get back here. We can't let you inside.
And there was the one character in there who was a fly, and I was talking to one of the people in the Discord, and his name was the Fly.
Yes.
And so I put that character in there because.
He's one of our tech mods. We know him very well.
Yeah. I met him from when Susie was doing the Cypher U stuff.
Yep.
So then I knew him when I got into Discord, and then we started kind of talking, and then he was kind of like the first person I started collaborating and talking with, kind of thing.
Yep. So is that the one we just did, Lego stop motion?
No, that's...
Is this the one, Kitty, then? Maybe?
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the fake news one.
Go down more.
But it doesn't go on for very long.
It's just not refreshing.
That's
weird.
Oh, there it is. No, that's
Where?
not.
No, it was before that.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
that's
Susie and I have both gone looking for it and we couldn't find it.
You know,
So
in your
let's
homepage, oh, subscribers, you have 144 subscribers. You just got another subscriber just as we looked. So videos.
Do you have a playlist of all the Legos?
Yeah.
If you go to
fake news one is on the
Oh, I believe it's the
James.
one that says Julian Assange Lego.
Oh, the full playlist, 9 videos. That looks
there you
good.
go.
There it is. Fake news exposed.
This
Top,
one?
yeah, the top one.
Yeah.
Today we were alone outside the Ecuador embassy where nobody cares about Julian
That's the one we just
Assange.
played.
Back to you, Bill.
Great work. Now let's get the fuck out of here, Rachel.
Hey, get back here. We care about Julian Assange.
That's not it either.
Was it the one with the girl with the swords?
It was a longer one.
107. We've already played most of
Another
these.
Lego news.
Oh, we're going to talk about this. There it is, Lego news. No,
We could try it. I'm not
No, that was the first one we played. Yeah.
it's been played. Yeah. Pumpkin
There's another
carving.
Lego news above, right above breaking bookshelf news. That's
Yeah, the
another
stuff.
one. Try that one.
Hi, I'm Rachel Loblow with the Oligarchy News Network. Today we are outside the Ecuadorian embassy where Julian Assange sits without any support. Years go by when nobody shows any support or solidarity for the man who single-handedly made the world a more dangerous place. A study shows that 100% of people never wanted Julian Assange ever to be born. Also, an anonymous source tells the ONN that Julian Assange smells like a jar of pickles and may be a Russian spy and is actually Vladimir Putin's brother. Oh. As I was saying, this violent mob outside of the Ecuadorian embassy will kill anybody who crosses their path. These people are holding racist, anti-Semitic signs. This is Rachel Lovelow reporting from the Oligarchy News Network. Back to you, Bill.
Free Julian Assange! Free Julian Assange!
Yeah, in the background of the embassy picture, I just printed out like a picture of the embassy and stuck it to the wall, kind of thing. And
that was brilliant, Quinn.
Yeah.
Julian Assange smells like a jar of pickles. And the anti-Semitic signs and all the signs are saying, you know, we love Julian.
Yeah.
Hey guys, one thing we haven't done, and I wouldn't mind doing it, is to read out the letter from the the 36 members of the European Parliament.
Yes.
Can I do that? Could I screen share that with you?
Do you have it?
Yes, I've got it up. Yes, I just thought, well, we've mentioned this, but we haven't actually read what it says. So I'm just going to do that now. Let me see, where is my, goodness, there it is. Share. Okay, so protection for Julian Assange, allow departure to a safe country. Message from Heike Hansel, Seven Dagdelen and Sarah Wagenknecht on December 10th, 2018. Unofficial translation on the 12th of the 11th. 36 members of the German Bundestag, the Dutch Parliament and the European Parliament urge UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, Ecuador's President Lenin Moreno and the British Prime Minister Theresa May to, quote, protect the journalist and founder of WikiLeaks disclosure platform. yeah, that's a bit of a strange sentence, Julian Assange. In the context of the medical condition of Assange, who has been living in forced asylum at the embassy in London for 6 years, a rapid solution is necessary, says Sarah Wagenknecht, chairman of the parliamentary group Die Linke of the German Bundestag, as well as other parliamentarians on the occasion of the International Human Rights Day on December 10th. So it was the 90th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. A constant and arbitrary threat by Great Britain and the USA, the years of imprisonment, the continuing separation from his family and friends, the prevention of adequate medical care, and the recent isolation of Assange since March this year are, quote, serious and outrageous violations of human rights in the middle of Europe, unquote. The protest letter continues. The letter explicitly condemns the threat of the Ecuadorian government to deprive Assange of the protection it has been granted in the embassy rooms, while in the USA, a secret arrest warrant against the Australian has become public. Without legal protection and clarification of its situation, Assange is threatened with extradition to an, quote, unpredictable government in the USA, unquote. So MEPs, members of European Parliament, call for his immediate release in conjunction with his departure to a country that is safe for Julian Assange. So that is signed. You can see if I scroll down, all of the signatories are below. Now, interestingly enough, we have, I counted them, there are 5 from Spain. So in the Spanish language, that's good. A hell of a lot from Germany, probably the majority, but also members of the European Parliament from Belgium, France, and Greece, and Portugal. So, and the Netherlands. So we have a cross section of the European Parliament. 36 is quite a lot, and we would hope that that would carry a lot of weight. It was certainly great news to see it coming. So I'll just stop my share now. Hello?
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm looking on the YouTube. So there's a delay. You stopped the share already.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see Quinn anymore. He seems to have disappeared. Oh, he's back. So you heard that, Quinn. That is a very strong statement, because we have 2 United Nations working group on arbitrary detention, 2 conclusions from the UN, and we have the ruling from the advice of the Inter-American Court that all countries must cooperate to assure safe passage. And now we've got 36 members of the European Parliament. In fact, as Lenin Moreno plows forward with his ridiculous moves and statements that we know not to be true, of course the parliamentarians who know the law are seeing the alarm bells ring when they can see that he's being called a whistleblower, which is absolute crap. And of course, the whole thing being very much dependent, what Lenin can get away with is very much dependent on public perception. So we have a strong legal body now, European Parliament, that is rising up against this ridiculous persecution.
Yes. Yeah, that should be a game changer. Yeah. I'm just I got a private message from the mod, from Paula, because I mistyped her name. She asked whether she was shadow banned, and I'll just show you what actually came up when you type her real name.
But yeah, I've been going to the
story.
Government websites, and they have ways that you can just like directly tweet MPs or senators or whatever. And I think that's another good way to get more support and the word out.
Yeah, well, that's right, and it's just a shame that. Well, I think Elizabeth Farrelly, the Australian journalist, had written her article before this statement, this letter came out from the European Parliament, because it probably would have made her more cautious about what she said about Julian. It would have made her cautious about calling him a whistleblower.
Yes, I stopped screen sharing that because it's a restriction. But she got banned as well. That's another mod. She's the one who does the live tweets.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, I tweet. I don't know, a couple times a day, but I don't tweet like all the time. So maybe that's, I don't know. But I always thought I was shadow banned because I never get traffic to my page,
Yes.
Well, I sort of wonder why I'm not, because I interview Christine Assange, and I put out lots of movies with, get a fair amount of views.
And you're
you're
very politically active too, like.
Yeah, I know, but I'm really, I've been really quite well known for a long time as an artist.
Yeah.
So, and I've got I've got a big mouth and a network. Sometimes it's more risky to do this kind of thing to people who have a voice.
Well, I think some of it really is, to be fair, really is automated, because I'm doing, I do a screen share of you see, I was doing a lot of tweets that were somewhat repetitive. So
yeah, it's anything that looks like you're posting a lot. But I spent the other day, I spent an hour and a half clicking on those government websites, because you can just click directly to the person's Twitter, and I was spamming pretty much the same message to support Julian.
I'm trying to do a thread, and they've broken up my threads as well. This is a thread of all the MPs that you should be able to. What I did was I replied to myself after tweeting each of the 36 MPs that did that letter, Kathy.
Yeah.
But now it's not a stream anymore. They've also broken the links between the tweets. So if someone sees one tweet, they can't find all the other tweets that are on here.
Right.
So I tweeted all of them. So they're... Yeah. So...
You've still got that information, though, don't you? You still have that list, so you can just put it out again, and then we'll all share it. Let's make a point of a point of Twitter storming everything that gets blocked, because that's the stuff that's working.
And the other thing I was doing is trying to do the minutes, tweeting minutes. So this is Wikibeast 21, and so I was doing. I'm at. This is Wikibeast 21 and up to this is.
Oh, nice! My shirt's on backwards.
I'll see if that stream is still there, and then I'm going to go back to the one above it, Kathy. You'll recognise, which is like next level, tweet minutes. Oh no! I tried to do it as a thread when I replied to myself, hoping that people would see the whole thread as the minutes of the Wikibeast, but. Wikibeast 34 has nothing before it, so they've chopped up all the links. But here is someone who does next level Wikibeast minutes, and that's you, Kathy. You actually did a movie of the. Is this the movie? Let's see if I click on this.
That's it. Yes. Oh no, it's not.
Just a screenshot.
You've got to click on them. Click on the link, and that's going to take you to Facebook, where there is the transcription, the entire transcription. But this is the movie, yeah.
No one seems to have invented the idea of saying, this can't go on. I'm going to report you. Who is your boss?
Everybody's going to watch to the finish of that. That is just incredible. And Daniel Ellsberg is one of the most incredible heroes.
Of course, what we have then is Daniel realizing that it's got to be him, right?
Yes.
Right? And
that's
then
a wonderful film, Kathy. Really, congratulations for doing that.
Thank you. But it's not just Daniel. And then we jump to Nozomi with that famous quotation, first they came for, etc.
Yes.
She says that. And then we go to John Pilger, who says, and now Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. There was massive demonstrations here in support of Julian at the time that this Bradley Manning thing happened, because everybody got behind the First Amendment, that fundamental idea that Daniel is explaining. There just has to be whistleblowers. There just has to be. And the horror of Vietnam, the meaninglessness of it that went on, the pointlessness of it for 7 more years after they realized, you know, and there was only a few people up the top calling all the shots. I mean, we had to break this system. And the greatest whistleblower, I suppose, since Ellsberg was Chelsea Manning. And then Edward Snowden. And the great thing that came along was the platform that would actually publish what they were revealing to the world. The common interest, public interest, of vital importance to whole populations. It was a shield against, you know, almost a century of information operations. Companies like SCL, Cambridge Analytica, very much alive today around the world, and WikiLeaks is the shield.
Yes.
That's why I said we have to make them grow bigger than ever at the moment, because there has been the rise of the infiltrators in terms of information operations. They hit social media starting in 2013, but really coming into full swing around 2016. Very, very influential, incredibly influential in the Trump election. They were running the campaign and the Leave campaign for Brexit. You know, all this personalized behavioral micro-targeting, it is called, which is based on mass surveillance and dupery for people to give over more information about themselves and what they are realizing, to show their vulnerabilities. And this horrendous non-democratic process of targeting the most vulnerable and gullible people in the electorate to get their vote. This insidious poisoning of the grassroots has been happening since they decided to get into, you know, the shadow government becomes, and university sector together merges to become deep state, right? Private entity. And then gets into the business of selling their services to elections. And we're staffed, you know. They actually looked after the PR campaign of the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Oh, he's a reformer. That was their campaign. And they were working in Brazil and China as well.
These are two topics that you're an expert in, Julian Assange and sort of Cambridge Analytica.
Well, it's no accident, because I see them as polar opposites.
Oh, yeah, that was my question. Also, why the two topics?
Keep your enemies closer. Enemy to truth. They inject lies into the bloodstream of the internet. Chris Wiley told us, made it clear. They inject truth. Simple, right? Black and white, if you like. It's as simple as that. Know your enemy. Know the insidious thing, the power of propaganda as it has become today. We have to enforce the power of truth. That's the meaning of our movement, as well as rescuing the person responsible for building this platform that enabled whole populations to know the truth.
Cool.
So there was a conversation back in WikiLeaks.
Yeah, when was that put out?
I just did that a couple of days ago.
Oh, damn.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Where's that coming from? Is that me?
Yeah, it must be you. Still playing. So what you've got.
We can't hear you, Kathy.
Yeah, you muted, Kathy. Everyone got muted by the host.
Okay, so what we have there, yeah, I put that up a couple of days ago because I thought that it really needed spelling out, and I had all those archives of a presentation that I did about Cambridge Analytica in October last year, which was about 4 months before Chris Wylie stepped out. And so I was able to take the material from there that illustrated what I was talking about to show the contrast between WikiLeaks, the purpose of WikiLeaks and their activity, with the purpose and the dark purpose and activity of Cambridge Analytica.
Yes.
Or what we know about it, because they ghost in and ghost out of countries all the time, you know, and boast about that. Their emails erase themselves in 2 hours. They it's like Mission Impossible. They act just like spies, which is what they are.
Yes, that's part of a theme that Nozomi really points out, that we're being manipulated and don't realize it. And
yes, that's right. And all of our social media information that we have eagerly supplied, you know, has then been turned against us in order to target, not all of us, a small number of us, the ones that have been detected as easily susceptible to conspiracy theories. Actually, they were looking in the Ocean personality test, they were looking at a correlation between openness and neuroticism. So people who scored both high on both of those would essentially be the ones who would be targeted with conspiracy theories. And Wylie said that they decided to push it as far as they could go. So he shows, you know, in that long interview with Carol Cadwallader, the Guardian journalist, who did a great job, in fact, on that area, in that area. Pity there's a bit of a blind spot, but yeah. So there was yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm just getting into her blind spot. It threw me off a little bit. So yeah, there's been a lot of oh yeah, what he showed in the interview with her was an extract of a campaign. In fact, the whole campaign, election campaign that they had done in Africa, and it was like a horror film. It was just like a horror film, and it made me sick at all the artists. In fact, all the artists that worked, filmmakers like us, Quinn.
Yeah,
you know, got a bit of a knack for maybe handling imagery and stuff, but the money that was paid to artists to do all this propaganda, persuasion of the most mendacious sort, and only target vulnerable people with it. Yeah. See, they didn't. If you look at Trump's election campaign, they only targeted 17 states for a start, but then within those states, they only targeted a certain combination of characteristics in people's personality types, the people who would be susceptible, and they were the only ones they needed to sway to. You know, it's like targeting marginal seats in an electorate, except these people don't live in any particular place. They are, it's wherever they are, those personality types that can be swayed. Sick. It's totally undemocratic. And Tim Berners-Lee has been furious about this. Tim Berners-Lee, who gave us the World Wide Web for free, in order for two purposes: for anybody to have access, unlimited access to any information they wanted, and secondly, for any person, any individual to be able to have a say. So this is like true democracy. And he's appalled at what has been done to this network, which was going great guns until, well, 2012 it really started. But then, as I say, in 2013, this kind of these techniques, this takeover of social media started happening with this newly emerged deep state election service. And then by 2016, yeah, it was used for Trump, Brexit, even straight from the horse's mouth from Mark Turnbull, the CEO of Cambridge Analytica, and Alexander Nix. They said that they were working in Brazil and China, and they also said Australia, actually. But we learned even more recently in an interview with a friend of Jamal Khashoggi, another journalist. She said that it was Cambridge Analytica who managed the PR campaign for the Crown Prince about him being a reformer. Yeah.
In Canada, they were using Intelligence Q, which is the same kind of company as Cambridge Analytica. That's how the Liberals won the last election by a landslide. It was Intelligence Q who was doing exactly the same kind of stuff that Cambridge Analytica did. And that was also exposed in Cadwell. I don't know how to pronounce your name, Cadwaller's article.
Yeah, well, in the case of Brexit, it was an affiliate whose intellectual property was owned by Robert Mercer. The affiliate in British Columbia was called Aggregate IQ. But, you know, in terms of the elections, you know, we learned from Russian analyst Elena, oh, sorry, I forget her surname, but there was Palantir Technologies, Cambridge Analytica, and another intelligence agency that begins with Q, but it wasn't Q. Does anybody remember the name of the third one? Yeah, because they were just an imaging company. Maybe they're the ones who make the clips and memes and all that kind of thing. But there was a third one as well that were involved. And isn't it interesting that Palantir Technologies were named? Well, firstly, because going right back, what they did, having with their contractor HB Gary, was Anonymous exposed a whole plot to destroy WikiLeaks and also the reputation of Glenn Greenwald, who was writing about WikiLeaks by putting out all these false leaks and hoping that WikiLeaks would publish them. That was a long shot, but that was all.
This is Stratfor, right? Stratfor.
Yes. Well, no,
this was
it was before HB Gary. HB Gary.
Yeah, it was the HB Gary leak.
You're a real expert on this, aren't you, Kitty?
Well, on the anonymous stuff, yeah, probably.
So, but then secondly, we also learned from another of Carol's articles, and I think it was the Great Brexit Train Robbery. It might have been that one that the daughter of Eric Schmidt, who was CEO of Google, went to Palantir Technologies in 2013, saying that her father was involved with Palantir Technologies and suggested to SCL, who'd been working in military and government intelligence for 25 years for the British government and other governments around the world and the military, to get into analytics and the business of offering their services to elections. And of course, a private company, a private entity had to be made in order to do this. But they took that up. They created SCL Elections first, and then Steve Bannon came over to Cambridge University, and they'd rented an office in the university precinct to make it look like they were part of the university, but that was just a bit of theatre. And it was Steve Bannon who suggested that they change the name of the company, make a new company, in fact, that was American, was registered in the States called Cambridge Analytica. And that's the one that was used for Trump's campaign because SCL couldn't be used, SCL elections, because they were a UK company. And there are laws in America about foreign interference, right? But in fact, Alexander Nix, the CEO, was a foreign national.
What was the company that Obama used for his campaign?
Oh, I don't remember, but you know, we are reminded just in an article yesterday that the techniques were pretty identical. They were, you know, they were put in place. I mean, the app, that the Obama app, invited people to sign up and at the same time deliver all of their social media information, so they knew who to target. Yes,
and that's
so
that's when those like Facebook, what are they?
Personality tests.
Yeah. You would fill out stuff on Facebook, and it would be you know, you'd give information willingly, and it'd be like a quiz.
Well, first of all, there was mypersonality.org, and that was actually a site that was managed by Dr. Michael Kaczynski. So he was a Cambridge University psychologist conducting his research. And then Alexander Kogan, who was another university professor, or else doctor, I'm not sure, sorry, don't quote me that he's a professor, but Kogan wanted to buy the data set because it was so much bigger than what Kaczynski had hoped for. He'd hoped, you know, to get a decent sized data set, and he got over 1 million responses. So suddenly there was this enormous personality database of population. And we heard at the time that Kaczynski refused on because it was private information that had been given for research. But then we learned later that he had wanted £500,000 to hand it over, and they didn't offer enough money. So when I did my presentation, he was still a good guy. But in fact, what Kogan did was to start up a new company called GSR, Global Science Research, and conducted exactly the same battery of personality tests himself. And it was done through Amazon. And in fact, money was offered to people to answer the questionnaire. I think it was about $1 per person. So people got money for answering it. There was a financial incentive, and there was they got all of the data again that they wanted, exactly the same without having to buy Kaczynski's data set.
So that we almost have to learn how to, strategically target people with ads. For Julian, rednecks for Julian, or mothers for Julian, or whatever group you could find, and make
Well, I wouldn't say if you can't beat them, join them. For one, it's totally immoral.
Yeah, no, I don't.
And I think this is the main point that has been brought up. The main objection by the Guardian is, and also people like Berit Anderson, who I quoted about the most victimized demographic by automated systems of surveillance are disadvantaged people, poor people. That the whole thing about the whole strategy, which is one of individualized, you recall the dark advertising on the right-hand column of people's Facebook feeds. They call this dark strategy as well. The real problem with that is that it segments the political offer, and so it makes public scrutiny impossible. So you've got like thousands of different messages that are going out. And in Britain, it was a lot more individually targeted than it was even in America, because I think it was Meg who said the last time she was on that there's the mosaic system of surveillance in Britain. So there's a lot more known about people, and there's a lot more data matching that can go on. So I read in The Guardian there was up to 2,000 different versions of ads, but nobody could see what the other was being delivered as a political message. And then in no time at all, it had just disappeared without a trace from their advertising.
So politicians can be saying one thing to some people and something completely different to other people, right?
Exactly. And that was, I think it was something like, it was over 100, about 128 different and contradictory election promises from Donald Trump. Contradictory.
Whole new meaning of speaking out the both sides of your mouth. God.
So, Tim Berners-Lee has called for a Magna Carta of the web.
Yes.
And I think this is the thing that really troubles him, that we have to have standards of truth online, because we're looking at anybody or any bullshit, or a lot of different kinds of bullshit, being able to sway whole populations and change elections and shock the whole world. The whole world thought it was going to be Hillary. I mean, I was even saying in my talk, I interviewed Pilger. I interviewed Lawrence Lessig, right, in Iceland. And then there was the interview that Pilger did with Assange. All three were, real experts in this area, were dead certain that it was going to be Hillary. We're dreading it, but they didn't entertain the idea of Trump for a moment. And you have Europe largely shocked at the Brexit result as well. So you've got to ask yourself, well, when, the general consensus is that this is not going to happen, and it does, what has caused it? And, the segmentation of the political offer is right up the top of the list as the explanation.
I always think of, maybe they're targeting ads to certain politicians, and not letting them ever see a certain narrative. Maybe there's a certain group that wants to reach out to them, and then just completely censor it from them.
I would say the media, mainstream media as well, get a very blinkered view of what's going on. If you take that, when the Manafort thing came out, I got a very distressed message from one of the audience members at Politics in the Pub, who was telling me that just about every channel in Australia, TV channel, right, was saying that Assange was still hiding from rape charges in Sweden. And Farrelly was, calling Julian a whistleblower as well. They've got it all muddled up. They don't even know the story. They don't know. Even the press, they don't know. And they get really angry about certain things that they don't realize are lies. Right?
But that's irresponsible on their part, at best.
Oh God, yes, if they're professional journalists. But that's not the way the media organizations are structured here. I said on one of the vigils that I'd been in teaching the photojournalists at the Sydney Morning Herald, which is it's been since bought by Murdoch. And it was already a pyramidal structure where the photojournalists were told right in front of me what to write. And they didn't know anything about the topic, but a lady came in, briefed them, this is what you write. And then I tried to get out, our class resumed, and I tried to show them a tutorial. And they said, oh, no, you can't get out of the building on the internet. So in other words, they couldn't do their independent research while they were at work. Maybe they could do it on their phones, but on the house connection, there was a jammer. So there you go. That's the situation. And that was back about 3 or 4 years ago. I discovered that. I was really
getting worse. So we need to push the model of WikiLeaks scientific journalism. The world needs it. Otherwise, we're lost as a democracy. Any chance of democracy is lost.
Absolutely. I think the only thing we really have left that we can count on are the WikiLeaks documents.
Yes.
The evidence, mountains of evidence that people should always consult.
Yes.
Yeah, I always go and I look up, you know, if a random politician, or like when Justin Trudeau got in, I looked his name up. You know, just anything.
Yeah. Hey, Kathy, I want to. It's getting depressing. I want to show something really positive.
Yes,
so,
please.
So at our last, was it the last WikiBees? And no, it was WikiBees 21. You were saying we have to push the First Amendment. We have to push the First Amendment. And Bean has done the wonderful bumper sticker. And we were saying, it was Kitty's idea, saying, why don't we do bookmarks? Okay.
Yes.
And I'll show you what came with that, because that's a wonderful idea. And I'll show you what came with that.
I've got more good news once you've shown this.
This is the WikiLeaks website. So this is to 5.41 million followers. This is their pinned tweets.
Nice.
How's that? How's that for making a difference?
Yeah, and the other thing is that just after we went off air last time, I immediately got in contact with the WikiLeaks shop and asked them if they would make a range of products with I Love the First Amendment, and they said yes. So we should see T-shirts, cups. This is the message that we need this to stay focused on, because while the others are trying to say he's a hacker, he's a whistleblower, anything that will, you know, come with the baggage of charges, as opposed to he's a journalist and a publisher, which comes with the protection of the First Amendment. That's how we need to keep it centered.
Yes.
I've also, just as an update, tweeted to Somerset Bean and asked them if they would produce some images that are more generic. I Love the First Amendment is very U.S. centric.
Yeah, in Canada, it's not the First Amendment, it's Second Amendment.
Exactly, it's the second. So I've asked Somerset Bean if he could create a more generic one that says, I love free speech and the free press for the rest of the world, because we're not all Americans, but, you know, we all want to give the same message, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a concept, but yeah, Kitty, that's a concept, free speech and free press, but the First Amendment is a law. So we have to get across that it is law. Although the laws are different.
It's only a law in the U.S. though, the First Amendment.
But then again, he's not being charged in Canada or threatened to be charged in Canada.
Yes.
That's right.
We have to make a difference in the US, which is the First Amendment, and then in Australia and the UK. And
Australians know what the First Amendment is. You know, there was a survey.
But they don't care about it.
I don't even think most people would know.
A whole lot of Australians, like out on the street, were interviewed, and they said, "Well, I would take the Fifth."
Yeah.
And they don't realize that that's American law. It's not Australian.
Yeah.
We're so saturated with it.
But Americans love their Constitution. Australians don't love the US Constitution. But Australians quite like the UN, don't they? And so I think the corresponding legal argument for Australians and for the UK is the UN rulings that Julian Assange is being arbitrarily detained for 8 years.
Oh, and the 36 UN parliamentarians as well. They have a great respect for Europe.
Yes.
However, I didn't see anyone from the UK on that one. Nobody from the UK on the list. No UK politicians. I imagine if George Galloway was still in Parliament, he would be on that list.
Yes.
But he's not. And
another thing that I wanted to I asked Bean, and he's replied, is to do nice versions of Julian Assange's simple quotes that from his speeches that explain what WikiLeaks does. Because I tried to do flyers, as you mentioned, Quinn, to get them out on the street, and I tried to do them, but I have no talent. So this is what's come out from me. So the quotes are wonderful, and these are supposed to be my flyers that go on the supermarket pin boards and everything like that. And also I have the idea of tear tabs so that they can get more copies of these. So the quotes are wonderful.
Oh no, that is a cool idea.
But the execution is terrible because I don't have any notice to tell. So there are 4 of them. One of the best ways to achieve justice is to expose injustice. If everyone knows that, they understand what WikiLeaks is doing. Second one, if wars can be started by lies, peace can be started by truth. People who love truth, who hate wars, appreciate that WikiLeaks, the collateral murder tapes, WikiLeaks is stopping wars.
That's all universal.
The goal is justice. The method is transparency. That's what WikiLeaks does.
Totally.
The fourth one is again the First Amendment, Kathy. So it's more American, and Bean's bumper sticker is better than this. Obviously, we embarked on a mission to bring the First Amendment to the world. Little did we realize that our greatest struggle would come in 2010 as we tried to bring the First Amendment to the United States. That's Julian Assange. The US is not getting that WikiLeaks is supporting the First Amendment. So I sent this to Bean, and he didn't reply for a long time, and then he said, oh yeah, I'll take a look at it. So hopefully he can do nice versions of that. And that brings it back to you, Quinn, which rather than just have it as flyers, also have people speak it and then tweet it out on the internet. And that brings us back to your video that you did that is related to that. I have to find that.
I also wanted to say about the bookmarks and that pull tab idea. Is that sweet? I'm gonna put that at the grocery store by my house.
Excellent.
But printing up bookmarks, I put a lot of bookmarks in bookstores and chapters, and I spent like an hour in chapters just like opening up a book, putting a bookmark in, put it back in, and they thought I was stealing by the end when I was going out there. But yeah.
So how much does it cost per bookmark?
Well,
is it like a cent or a few cents per bookmark?
Yeah, I bought a stack, maybe like 100 pages of thicker card paper. I can't remember what stock it was, but and then I bought my sister had a printer, so I just bought her some ink cartridges, which was like $40 or something.
Yes.
And I probably printed out like a couple hundred.
Yes.
And I still have paper and stuff. So I bought a bunch of stuff for that reason. So now I'm kind of like set up for any like flyers or anything like that.
Cool. Bookmarks are good because bumper stickers are good, but you have to send away, I think, to a publishing firm to, it has to be waterproof and sticky and everything like that.
Yeah,
it's hard to make a bumper sticker yourself, isn't it?
And I wanted to find something that some people aren't willing to talk about things in public. So I wanted to find ways to like do it in private for people. So when they bring their book home, it's like a personal thing.
Or
even like just writing on the ground or something, somebody reading it personally is more than like just having it on.
But we should do all of them because
totally, yeah.
If it's on a bumper sticker, a lot of people see it. It's very effective.
Yeah, and then people, in traffic see it, or people that are sympathetic or like, oh hey, and then flags a conversation in the car, kind of thing.
Yeah. So has anyone ever printed a bumper sticker? Have you ever done it? Does anyone?
No, I went to where I got the I got like t-shirt iron-ons and stuff, so I made some t-shirts, and then I tried to buy some of their sticker material, but it's just like paper sticker.
Yeah.
So if it rained on it, it would just be like completely gone.
So we need to find out how to do that as a way to activate.
There's local companies, like every city will have local companies that sell vinyl stickers.
Yeah.
And you just bring them the PDF or tell them to look up the PDF, and they'll print out as many as you want. I believe there's people in Discord that have done it a bunch.
Okay. Oh, so we should tweak that out and make it widely known, that knowledge.
Totally, yeah.
And find out how much it costs per sticker, per bumper sticker.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I'll come back to you. And so I would like people reading those quotes from Julian and then putting it on tweets. And you've done something similar that I'd like to show as an example, and also powerful in its own right. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. I made like a song and then put the quotes to it or whatever.
No, not the song, the right to publish one.
Oh yeah, that one, totally. Yeah.
So I'll just share that. People can see this. This was also made by you, Quinn.
Yeah.
And you were going to tell the story behind it also, but I'll just play it. It's only 1 minute 32 seconds.
Hi, my name is Eleanor Goldfield, and I support Julian Assange's right to publish.
Hello everyone, this is Jamal Thomas, commonly known as the Progressive Soapbox. I support Julian Assange's right to publish information. He's a journalist and should be regarded as such.
Hi, my name is Margaret Kimberly, and I support Julian Assange's right to publish.
Hi, I'm LB the Realist, and I support Julian Assange's right to publish.
This is Pat the Burner, also known as Peter Deesh, and I support Julian Assange's right to publish.
Hi, this is Carmen Stafiego, and I support Julian Assange's right to publish.
I am Commander X, and I support my brother Julian Assange's right to publish.
I'm Kathy Bogan, and I support Julian Assange's right to publish.
I'm Quinn Peterson, and I support Julian Assange's right to publish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I made that. What Kathy was talking about earlier about him being a journalist and not a whistleblower. Yes. I was asking people to come on the vigil and stuff, and people were kind of giving me grief because the Unity for J or whatever, and they didn't want to be associated with the other political spectrum kind of thing. So I was trying to find a way to, yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. So I was trying to find a way to like get people to, hop on board with it, but not be like, support his right to publish, but you don't necessarily have to support, being friends with Julian or whatever. So I, kind of had that idea, and then I made a phrase. And I've seen videos in the past, like you were saying, advertisers have done that kind of thing.
Yes.
And so, I just hashed up that idea, and then had a list of people that I wanted to contact, and a lot of them got back to me, but I was trying to use Mega Upload for them to give me the file, and a lot of them were having a hard time with it, and some people got it to me, and then other people's they had to email it to me, and other people's kind of just gave up.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I'm planning on making a new one, and making maybe a longer one, and having people, now that I got the method down, I can recontact those people that had a hard time and guide them through it better.
So they're all public figures, basically, at some level or other, aren't they?
Yeah, I had like Tim Canova and like like that Eleanor girl. She wrote a poem for him.
Yes, Eleanor Goldfield, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, Goldfield. Yeah, it was mostly people I watched on YouTube or
Yes. Who did the wonderful slam poem. She did it at the vigil, the last online.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, okay, so I just said the idea that I said to you earlier, which is that just invite absolutely everyone to tweet out Julian's quote, like the ones that I mentioned.
I was just got off work, so I didn't really have time to read them.
Yeah, so get everyone to read Julian's best quotes, and then
like those ones you just showed or whatever about WikiLeaks and the goal of WikiLeaks.
Read them out, and then you can make a video in that similar format for the very best ones. And you can also put like Julian Assange himself saying it at the start of the video and at the end of the video, and in between, people have their own reading out the same quote that Julian said. In a video with Julian, which would be pretty cool for people to,
Totally. I really want to learn how to do that. I don't know who made the video, but it's all the different frames and they zoom out, and it's all.
Oh, you didn't make that video?
No, I did not make that video.
Oh, okay.
And I like just got into video editing for kind of Unity for J or whatever. So there's so many things that I don't know or whatever. And I don't think my program can even do that.
But you contacted those people. Is that what was the connection to that movie?
Pardon me?
I thought you completely made that movie.
No, the one we just played, I totally made that one.
Yes.
But the it's this one that I'm talking about. It like zooms out, and it's like all the people that were on the vigils.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's probably like 50 people, but have like that kind of thing. I want to learn how to do that sort of thing. And
yes. Oh, I'm sure Kathy knows a lot of the video tricks. She's probably got them. Oh, take the opportunity to say hi to Kristen.
I'm still here.
Hi, Kristen. Oh, Kristen's gone. Kristen Zoldovar, another one of the mods, was on. So you were in that video too. Hi, Kristen.
I'm still here. Hey, guys. How are you guys? How you doing? It's good to see you guys.
I'm still here too.
We're way over time, actually, I think. Yes, we are way over time. Yeah, so we should wrap up, I suppose. But I suppose we're sort of ending on a high note that it's an opportunity for things to do, to get the message out. There are lots of opportunities, and
just I keep like a pad and paper around with me, and I or people have their smartphones. Any idea I have at work or anything, I write it down, and then come to the Discord and try and collaborate with people if you can't do it all yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
I'd just like to mention one thing more on that First Amendment thing. I would thoroughly recommend that people go read Professor James Goodall, who's a professor of law, and he was the New York Times main lawyer in the Pentagon Papers. And in fact, the New York Times have recently been warned that if Julian Assange goes down, they're all at risk. So that is something that you should look at. Also, you might want to look at the interview that Chris Hedges did with Joe Lauria, where Joe Lauria said that a lot of people remember the Pentagon Papers as Daniel Ellsberg's story as a whistleblower, and how he managed to escape being even possibly executed for espionage, how that went down. But what people don't know is that not long after, they came after the New York Times. They came after the principal journalist who put out the Pentagon Papers was called Neil Sheehan, and they came after him. And the ruling there, and this was very interesting the way it was expressed, it was something like, almost exactly like this, that journalists cannot be punished for the actions of a stranger, right? The stranger being the whistleblower who submits information. Journalists can't be punished for that because they didn't commit that crime. It's as simple as that.
Yes,
but
it is.
I'd go and look at both because they're both very, very rich in quotes and information.
You said it was James Goodall?
James Goodall, yeah. Goodall.
Yeah. Can I share an answer to a question from Paula? It's in the Discord. So I just share the Discord. This is a private conversation I had with Paula, but then I got her permission to share it. Paula's wonderful. She's a mod, and I invited her on to the Zoom itself, but she hasn't come on yet. So she's look, it's wonderful just what she's doing. Bruce, I have ordered lots of vinyl stickers and tried to share it over and over. This is a US company, ships only to the US. Custom stickers made easy. No minimum quantity. Make stickers. Custom bumper stickers with instant previews, printed and shipped out in 2 days. No minimum quantity. I also made up 50 stickers. I was thinking I'd sell them at cost. She has an online business of some sort that she works on. I mean, Paula's wonderful. Hi, Paula, you're probably listening to this. She's apologizing. I had to stop tweeting. I'm so tired. She does wonderful live tweeting as well. Paula's wonderful in all sorts of ways. But this is the answer to our question. This is the company. We can tweet it out, makestickers.com. And she's already done it, 50 bumper stickers to sell at cost, probably in her online company. So yeah, that answers the question. And Paula's already doing it.
Very cool.
So we can advertise to people. Paula's doing that, and we can just advertise that anybody can do an order to Paula, and she will supply it at cost. And that will get bumper stickers out to as many people as we want. And this, hopefully, a lot of people, like an appreciable fraction, even of the US, to the extent that somebody's going to see driving down the street every once in a while a Julian Assange bumper sticker. That would be the dream.
Totally. Yeah, or just slap them wherever. Slap them in a subway station or.
Yes.
Absolutely. Like I read, I think Naomi Klein's No Logo. It has a chapter on guerrilla marketing.
Yes.
And it's just all these different tactics that, from writing on a wall to, printing out flyers kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many things you do. That's why I keep a pen and paper around. And
Christian, do you have anything to say before we sign off? Because you've only just landed. You want to just unmute yourself and let us know if there's any news?
Well, mostly just wanted to come on and say hi to you guys. It's been a while. I don't know if you saw, but I recently did Action for Julian out in Grand Central about 2 Sundays past. And it was good. It was good. We had a lot of good reactions from people over there. Not one heckler, but other than that, mostly people will just look at the sign, and then you get a few nods of the head and a few like, yes, I agree with you, a thumbs up, which is great to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's definitely encouraging. And you guys, it goes without saying, but you guys are all amazing. And thank you all for all you've done. Like I said in the chat, Quinn, it's nice to put a face to your name, brother. It's very nice to meet you.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I think about the guerrilla marketing, I think that's definitely some effective strategies you guys mentioned there, like writing on walls and putting stickers in highly populated place where there'll be a lot of foot traffic. We've done that a lot in Manhattan, in New York City, places like Times Square, like the big stations and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you tweet? Did you tweet your thing, Christian? Because I'm going through your Twitter feed at the moment, trying to find it.
I think so. Yeah, it was.
What date was it?
Sunday well, I'll tell you right now. Well, my time. It was probably already Monday in New Zealand time. Sunday the 2nd. So it was probably.
Okay, I'm going back.
It was around. What was that? What time did I do it at? Like 1400 hours. So maybe it was already like 1 a.m. in New Zealand or something like that.
The usual time for us activists.
Right.
I'm just trying to scroll back through your feed, but you've got so many wonderful tweets of the vigil that I'm trying to get past them on the 7th.
Oh yeah, you might have a hard time. But just go to my my YouTube. I have it on my YouTube anyway.
Oh, down to the 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to. Oh, here it is. I'll screen share it.
Now, how have you guys been doing? Have you been doing all right? Like Kathy, I haven't spoken to you in a while. Bruce.
Oh yeah. Keeping busy.
So here it is, right?
Yes.
It must be action for Julian. Yeah. Wonderful.
Sweet.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I was promoting it for a few days prior.
I just keep an eye on what's happening, and the good thing is that the longer you do this, the easier it gets, because you build up an archive where you've got all of your. I mean, they seem to come in cycles. These sound bites, and you've got your answers already, so you can be quick off the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Folks, I'm going to have to go. I've got a little doggy here that is urging me to take him outside.
Yeah.
Otherwise, might be an accident.
Oh, thanks very much. So we'll wrap up, but I'll just get the final comments from people here and also on the YouTube, which we've been neglecting. So David says cheap custom stickers, get 1,000 for stickers for $75. This is in New Zealand dollars, sticker.com.
Wow.
So I wonder if they're bumper stickers. I wonder if they're good for outdoors, David. And Paula herself, okay, I'll go back and reshare Paula's stream again, because this is another wonderful picture. By the way, her Twitter account is wonderful also. That's probably why they've been shadow banned, for being too wonderful. But see that? Rain or snow, they're still sticking. This is
Nice.
Paula's car. She's got Unity for Jay and I Love the First Amendment on her car. And they're sticking in the rain and the snow.
Excellent.
So that's wonderful. And I'll just check the YouTube. Are you still there, Kitty?
Yep, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Any interesting? Hi, Bruce, listening. Paula says. Paula is amazing at live tweeting. Yep. I know what I'll screen share the YouTube screen. So this is a delayed feed, so I hope people aren't confused. But Paula is amazing at live tweeting. And the First Amendment to the Constitution. Eleanor Goldfield read her slam dunk poem on. Oh, it's not working very well. I'll stop the share. So no particular comments from everyone on YouTube. Kitty.
No, I hadn't noticed anything in particular that needed to be addressed.
Okay. Oh, so we should just wrap up with some final words, I suppose, eh? So it's been a good session, and towards the end, we're sort of thinking of ways to help, and people who've actually done things already, like Paula has already done the stickers, and Christian, you went out to the march, and Quinn's pointing somewhere. What are you pointing to, Quinn?
At Chris.
I'm
pointing at Chris.
Thank you, brother. Whichever way.
What does that mean? Oh, you're in Edmonton, right? Oh. And Christian, you're in New York City, aren't you?
Yeah, New York City. Yeah, just outside New York City.
Down south.
Yeah. Down south to the east. Yeah.
Folks, can I screen share just one last pic that might come as a bit of an inspiration to some?
Yeah,
totally.
Go for it.
Okay, so this is from 2013, and it's the WikiLeaks Ute.
Nice.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
If I can, maybe just play this. I'm up on top of
Anons in the front seat. I love that.
Where is it? Where is this taken?
Sydney.
At a parade?
Have you not seen this?
No.
This would be a great one to go out on. Really, it is such a happy thing. So we did we organised the Bradley Manning float for Sydney Mardi Gras. And of course there was the WikiLeaks part of that particular float, but I can show you just this is Sydney back in 2013. Oops. And you'll see the bum of Julia Gillard. I'm going to sign out after this, so I'll say goodbye already. Okay, here we go.
Who's used this?
We're up against something we can't fight until we can figure it out. Network exposure, man, good road, up and let us do a highway code. Fire care, street view code, my man invader, not security phone.
Robots throughout the world, we command you to murder mankind.
Oh, sorry about that. It was almost at the end. That's not a full version. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Was it you with the blonde hair, Kathy?
No, at the beginning, yeah. Yes, that's me. Up on top of the anonymous truck.
Handsome.
Yeah, with I'm the proud owner of a black anonymous mask, and also that was Julian's father. You saw a number of times
on the right hand side.
Yeah. That was great. That was a real high. There's not that much more. There's a couple of really funny images at the end, but of the Prime Minister, Uncle Sam kicking the kicking the ass of Australia's foreign minister. That was quite good.
Oh God!
But, not a great deal more. But that's what it was like in Sydney in 2013, and that was just while Julian was running for senator. So the support was enormous. We were polling 40% of the population who were going to vote for WikiLeaks party among the under 30s. 40%.
Oh. And has it died away? Why has it died away?
And 25% overall, or over all ages. Oh, things just went a bit wrong with that party. I don't want to go into detail. It's not the right time. But yeah. But that's that's the kind of support that this is the well, yeah, we do have it back. We do have it back because that was the Manning era. Yes. All that support, that passionate support, especially from the left, was because this was a First Amendment issue, right? Yes. And so people can't help but coming back on board, even if they feel a bit of cognitive dissonance over it, they have to support the issue they know doesn't just concern Julian Assange, but the media, the fourth estate all over the world. And as we know, the targeted journalist is the person of the year for good reason, although it's appalling that Julian has hardly been mentioned as a targeted journalist, but he's probably the most targeted journalist in the world. If you're looking at the long period, I mean, certainly wasn't sliced up into little pieces like Khashoggi, but we it's as he said, as Julian said yesterday, it's a much more subtle way, and his mother is saying that as well, and the doctors are saying that too. It's a slow death.
Yeah.
It's an inverted way.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
By default, that's just health goes down until. And incidentally, something that was said earlier on about the protocol. Jennifer Robinson did mention that there are 4 different conditions there where Assange would be kicked out of the embassy, and violating the terms in terms of his political speech is only one of them. If he gets really sick and has to go to hospital, that's it as well. So it's almost an inevitability, as Julian says.
Well, if you respect the protocol, but the protocol is just a trick. It's totally illegal. So I don't think they can just throw it out and say, well, it was in the protocol. I can't believe that.
Well, I mean, the exception of him becoming critically ill, it wouldn't matter if there was a protocol or not. We've always had this problem. If Assange had a heart attack or something like that, heaven forbid, in that case, they wouldn't hesitate to take him to the hospital. But of course, the British haven't even guaranteed safe passage to a hospital.
Yes, but I think we're having some game changers now. Christine Assange's speech that we played was a game changer. These European MPs, their leader is a game changer too, I think.
Yeah.
Pamela Anderson in Australia was a game changer.
Well, not according to Elizabeth Farrelly. Apparently, she'd never heard.
Well, who cares about her? I don't.
92% of Australians voted to rescue him, and she's saying, "Oh, we know that we hate Julian." I mean, what bubble is this woman living in? Why do her feelings matter?
Well, don't even amplify her. Then it's like she's a troll. I don't know.
Right.
Positive. The positive is Mrs. Assange. The positive is Pamela Anderson. The positive
no. Look, Farrelly's article is not negative. She's trying to be fair, but it's her ignorance that spoils it. But she does try her best to make it clear that it's a really dodgy process. And what has he done? He hasn't committed any crime. And she's also saying it's all resting on public perception. But at the same time, she's giving people reasons to hate him. Goodness gracious, the irony.
Well, there are a lot of commentators doing that. I mean, it's a full-time business in the US. Like the former heads of the CIA come on, you know, Brennan and the other one, Hayden, come on the TV networks as commentator experts. So that's just the mainstream media. There's a lot of it in the US. So we have to put out a positive message.
Yeah, I screenshotted WikiLeaks sued the CBC, Canadian Broadcast Corporation, for the rape allegations thing, and they won the case, and CBC retracted the story, and I screenshotted that. So now when people talk about the rape charges from Canada, I send them that screenshot.
Oh, what year is that?
That was last year. Like they got forced to rewrite the article, and I don't know if they had to pay money or like what happened, but it was a very quick court case too. I'm hoping that the DNC case is just real quick.
Yeah, let's hope that.
But what I would suggest, if you're debating with a troll, you not only counter their point, but you end up with, what is WikiLeaks doing? WikiLeaks is doing something positive. They're trying to prevent wars, and they're trying to get justice through transparency. So end up with a positive message.
Yeah, you can't. I always don't want to leave them unanswered, you know, or else somebody will look at that thread and they'll be like, oh yeah, well that troll they were right because they had the last word or whatever. Yeah. Or they said the most snarkiest thing, or or you didn't have your facts right and you couldn't back up what they said properly.
Yeah.
It's happened to me. It's like, if you don't have it perfect, you got to look up on the internet and you don't have the time. That's hard.
Folks, I definitely have to go now. I'll see you later.
Yeah, okay.
Bye.
Yeah, see you later. We're over 4 hours, I think, which is far too long.
I have to go too, Bruce, so I'm going to say goodbye as well.
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Bye, Kitty.
Bye, Kitty.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Kitty.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks for coming on, Quinn, for the first time.
Totally, yeah. I should go get something to eat.
See you later, everyone.
All right, guys. Good night, guys. Good evening, good morning, wherever you guys are. I'll see you all later, guys. Thanks.
See you later. So, I'll ask David, can I end the meeting now, David?
Yes, I'll fade you out and put a short video on and then end it. Thanks, Bruce.
Oh, cool. You close it up. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, everyone.